Today is the first Monday in the month of July, the first working day in the week. And it's a pleasure to be here. Good morning. Thanks to all of you for joining us to start another week. Of all the activities happening, we try to touch everything. It's always a pleasure to be here. Today is the 7th of July, the month of our independence. Today, His Excellency the President leaves the country, as we are told, for the U.S. to participate in an event with U.S. President Donald Trump after Washington's invitation. It's good to go. We look forward to our president exploring that opportunity to make Liberia's case, however he could do that. Good morning to all of you. Today is your birthday. Happy birthday to you, Miss Jacqueline Woods of OKFM. Today is your birthday. The entire management team here, I say happy birthday to you, Jackie. All the best on the day of your birth. And all others celebrating birthdays today, happy birthday to all of you. And so that's it. Coming up shortly with fake sponsored messages. Too many things to talk about. Too many things happening. Let's not stop talking. Let's exchange our ideas and our opinion, but at least based on facts. Alignment and realignment. Taking a short break. We'll be right back. The beauty of life has always been about not how happy you are, but the impact you make in the lives of others. And so the beauty of life is not whether you are happy, but how others could be happy because of you. Good morning, Grand G. Our people in River G, Sign, Maryland, Grand Crew. Good morning to Bapolo, to Bong and Nimba, Lofa. Our people in Grazon, in Grand Baza, to all Timbo, all in Jason. Good morning to all of you, our Baza people. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Rushing. Why are you rushing to so?
You, Judy, don't give me a hard time, man. I'm going to the bank to get my cash because the bank was so close.
You can use the ATM?
My ATM card expired ever since.
My man, you don't need ATM card. Just use the mobile app and generate an e-token. All you have to do is to just log on the app, you click on Express Cash. Then you select ATM. From there now you select Generate e-token. Then you select the account you want the money to come from. From there you select the currency that you want. If they're Liberian dollars or US dollars. Then you put in the amount that you want, whether $10 or $20, you put it in and generate your e-token. It's simple, like 8 numbers that will come to you. When you get that number, just go to any ATM name. All you have to do is to just select the C Express Cash on the ATM now. The place where you're supposed to put your ATM pin, that way you pull that 8 number. Then it will ask you for the amount. That money where you generated, that money will come with the ATM will pay you.
So simple. Echo Finance for me again. I will always make use of the express service big time. Echo Bank, the Pan-African Bank.
The people that used to sell Mary Maga hot tea medicine all over in Lofa, Nimba, and all of Bon counties. The people finally now settle down in Moserado County. They Mary Maga hot tea medicine here. People in Lofa, people in Bon counties have been buying the Mary Maga hot tea medicine. People with terrible sicknesses, and most of them have been healed and been giving testimony about the Mary Maga hot tea medicine and how cool it is. Finally, the people now settle down in Moserado County. Yeah, in Moserado County here, Morovia, Liberia. The people, when you go to Bonafan, opposite Makumba, Bendu Tissue Factory, right beyond the block factory, you will see the people office that they Marimaga hot tea people. They're going to be sending the Marimaga hot tea to you. And if you want to buy this Marimaga hot tea medicine, that's small money. The whole week, 7 days dose is just 5,600 LD. If you buy the medicine here, you take all of the dose, my sister, my brother, all of the sicknesses you've been suffering with gonna be cured. This medicine they call Marimaga hot tea can take away or kill all kinds of sicknesses, and some of the sicknesses that a Marimaga hot tea medicine can kill are typhoid fever. Every time you're feeling cold in your body, you're feeling sick, infection, stomach complaint. Every day you complaining with your stomach. You say my stomach hurting, my mom my stomach hurting, my wife my stomach hurting. Even women that cannot see their period, the medicine they call Marimaga hot tea can solve it. A sexual weakness, you can't do your homework go, you come from working or you go somewhere, you come back home, you can't do your homework go. Your woman tells you say bye leave me man. Sexual weakness in both men and women, they Marimaga hot tea, it can kill it. Numbness in the body, eye problem. Every time you complain with your eye, you can't see clear. The Marimaga hot tea can solve it. It can cure it. Also, every time you complain with your stomach boiling, you can't eat pepper, you can't eat this one. Also, the Marimaga hot tea can solve it. It can cure it. Rheumatism, back pain. Every time you complain with your back, my back hurting, pain in my back. Marimaga hot tea medicine can cure it. Diabetes, the sugar problem. This Marimaga hot tea can cure it. Skin disease and many more. Marimaga hot tea medicine can cure all these problems. Here are some of the testimonies of people that Marimaga hot tea medicine has cured, and today they are free and living happily.
My name is Zizi Galima.
Okay.
I live in Kolahu, Kobasile, Kisi. But this medicine have done well for me from Monday to this Monday, making it 1 week. Okay. The first of all, typhoid have been disturbing me. That even it have taken me more than 5 years, I don't take bath with cold water, but this medicine makes the way I sweat, the heat coming on fine, I take bath with cold water, and I'm fine in the body. And also even my outside have not been too clear. But it makes now I can see a distance, seeing very clear. And also as a man, it makes me active, sexually active. I play my game number 1. Wow. I used to always play weakness in the defense, but now I'm strong. Wow. If I can leave on the defense, go school and come back, which is my sexual organ is very, very active. That's great. As a young man, I'm moving strong. All of my joints that have been hurting my waist, everything free. This medicine is very, very good. It's natural. Right. It's very good. It don't have any side effect, but it do it well, perfect.
My mother was sick. I've been spending money from hospital to hospital, but that time she almost died. I listen for my people in the king. And when I hear the news over here, I have brought her. Well, I tell God, thank you. She well. And even my auntie, they call her Yeye. She was saying she was not working good. She was in the same church. And when I told her, people come here, gave me testimony. All right. So they medicine. And that's what we were supposed to play with. Even my mother had testimony because she was not working, she was not talking. When they did testimony, people see what I want to make it. Every time people running come here for their medicine. Okay. So their medicine, but they're doing well. My mama, yeah, she was not working. Our baby was in the house. She was not coming outside, but now she got washed, she go in the bathroom, she pay for herself. She was not ever asking people.
I was then I gave it a badge and it's you get a go out. The baby call a bag. Okay. Now I studied in the Silla for away you. Can I hang on the Langan? Now can no mama, can no mama, can no mama. I can no mama. Mama can. Oh, mama,
well, I was suffering for 7 years, going up and down, no way. When I heard about you, I go to Puya about the medicine from Senga, buying this medicine. I'm feeling healthy than the way I was before. So my people who listening to me, the medicine, the good medicine, that make me to be alive today, got the first, second this medicine.
So what kinds of sickness you are suffering from?
Our foot problem.
Foot?
Yes, my foot problem.
Okay. How long that was Hamburg? You said 7 years, right?
7 years.
Okay, thank you. You are welcome.
I'm well now.
Rush now and buy this medicine, Marimaga hot tea, for some more money. The Marimaga hot tea medicine is sold for $350 Liberian. The whole week, 7 days dose is just 5,600 LD. In Moserado County here, Monrovia, Liberia, the people, when you go to Bonafan, opposite Makumba, Bendu Tissue Factory, right beyond the block factory, you will see the people office that they Mary Maga hot tea people. They're going to be sending the Mary Maga hot tea to you. For more information, you can call the following numbers: 0777 444 591, 0770 913361, and 0776 36 9805. And if you want to buy this Mary Maga hot tea medicine, that's small money. The whole week, 7 days dose is just 5,600 LD. If you buy the medicine here, you take all of the dose, my sister, my brother, all of your sicknesses you've been suffering with gonna be cured. So rush now and you will live happily.
Are you driving? You have a ride. Want to make some extra cash? Say no more, because we've got you covered. Omuta has arrived. The best drivers app to ever hit Liberia, with over 1 million riders just waiting for you. Join the train right now and don't be left out. Drive at your own convenient time. Drive whenever it suits you. Drive on the weekdays. Drive on the weekends. Drive in the evening. Make driving work around your lifestyle. The good news is you get paid every day. Every time you drive, you get money. So don't be left out. Rush now and get your Omuta app on Google Play and Apple Store. It's ORMUTA. Omuta, the best driver app connecting Liberia. So don't be left out. Join the Omuta family right now and make some cash.
For your inquiries, call 077-990-8382 or 088-532095. Omuta, we're waiting for your call.
Let's roll, baby. Roll, baby.
Attention, attention, attention to all lovers of the good things in life. A house is not a home, and a home is the one place where you should feel relaxed and accomplished. Your home should reflect who you are. So, it's time to make that upgrade with minimal damage to your pockets. And I have the perfect solution for you. Home Sweet Home, located on Benson Street, between Center and Buchanan Streets, got you covered. From the kitchen, we have air fryers, juice makers, pressure cookers, freezers of all sizes, and all the modern kitchenwares you can think about. From the bedroom, we have top-of-the-line, exquisite beddings to give you that great night's sleep because you have earned it. And soft, comfortable towels for your bathroom. And in the living room, we have high-definition TV sets of all sizes, unique aerial rugs, classy curtains in all the colors you desire, wall paintings of different sizes and colors, furniture, and everything you can think about for the home. All that at unbelievable prices. We even have low voltage, high quality washing machines and dryers to keep your clothes fresh and new at all times. As a bonus, we have fashion accessories for both the young and the old, designer quality bags, hats, and rare jewelries. So if you love yourself, your family, and your home, it's time to treat it right. Visit Home Sweet Home on Benson Street between Center and Buchanan Streets for that needed upgrade. You can call them on 0886 834 944 or 0770 581 420. Home Sweet Home, for the love of a classy home.
Chatu, where you dey go? Where you dey find?
Why you dey ask me that kind of question? Say where I dey go? Where I dey go? I dey come. You don't hit my car.
You Menju, why you walking and talking all by yourself so?
My sister, the car business are really thinking about so to get car in this country is really not easy. Since I put in for my cars and other goods, it is almost 1 year I can't get anything.
But it says stranger who always asks don't miss their way. Haven't you heard about urban used cars and auto parts?
You mean urban used cars and auto parts?
Yes, urban used cars and auto parts is 100% Liberian owned business With Urban Used Cars and Auto Parts, you can purchase your new cars, used cars, and all cars parts directly from America for an affordable price. Urban Used Cars and Auto Parts can also help you ship your parrots, your boxes, containers, and other goods from your relatives abroad within just 4 to 6 weeks.
Wow, this is a good news. Where can I find Urban Used Cars and Auto Parts?
If you are in Liberia, Urban Used Cars and Auto Parts is located Fish Market, Tottenham Boulevard, Monrovia, Liberia. And in the USA, 220 10th Street, Brookhaven, Pennsylvania, 19015, United States of America. You can also visit their Facebook page, Urban Used Cars and Auto Parts International, or call cell number +231 887 012218.
Thank you for this information. I am visiting Urban Used Cars and Auto Parts to begin the process of my card and other goods.
Urban Used Cars and Auto Parts. Our goal is to allow Liberians have access to buying things from America without being cheated.
It's time for a new journey, a journey of power, performance, and reliability. C-Car Motors has rebranded. Welcome to the all-new CFA Mobility Liberia, your trusted provider of world-class vehicles, motorcycles, and trucks. With Toyota, experience, strength, innovation, and adventure like never before. Built for Liberia's toughest roads. You need power and performance? Mitsubishi delivers toughness, efficiency, and performance for every job. And for those who move fast and ride with style, Yamaha Motorcycle provides unbeatable speed, durability, and comfort. At CFA Mobility Liberia, we don't just sell vehicles, we provide expert servicing, genuine parts, and lifetime support to keep you moving. Visit us today and experience the new CFA Mobility Liberia. Same trusted quality, brand new experience.
Welcome to the OK Morning Rush right here on 99.5. At this juncture, we take today's edition of the Fact Check segment from Local Voices, Liberia.
Good day and welcome to the Fact Check segment. This segment debunks disinformation and it provides the verified facts of statements made online and on the radio. I am Siawe Miapu and today we'll be fact-checking claims made in the last couple of days. To begin with, on June 30, Liberian economist Samuel Jackson and a panelist on Spoon Talk, he claimed in a Facebook post that 90% of Liberians do not have pipe-borne water. He made this claim while expressing frustration that despite the country's vast natural wealth, most Liberians still lack basic services like pipe-borne water and electricity, living in poverty due to poor governance and corruption. To fact-check this claim, we conducted an online search and found the 2019-2020 Liberia Demographic and Health Survey conducted by the Liberia Institute of Statistics and Geoinformation Services. The LDHS defines pipe water access as a household's main source of drinking water being directly supplied into the dwelling or within the yard or compound. According to the 2019-2020 LDHS, only 8.6% of households reported having pipe water either into their dwelling or their yard or plot. This figure is also cited in the 2021 World Bank Watch Poverty Diagnostic Report. We'll also review the 2022 National Population and Housing Census published by LHS. While it reports on improved water sources, it does not specifically state the percentage of Liberians with pipe water. Based on this available evidence, we conclude that the claim made by economist Samuel Jackson that 90% of Liberians do not have pipe-borne water is mostly correct. On July 3, Labor Minister Councillor Corporal W. Kura, he claimed during the Ministry of Information's regular press briefing that the Ministry of Labor does not have money in the national budget. Councillor Kura made this statement while explaining how, despite the lack of funding, the ministry is working with business partners and institutions to create vocational job opportunities for Liberians. To verify this claim, we review the approved 2024 national budget published by the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. Our review shows that the Ministry of Labor is allocated 1,503,302 for 2024 fiscal year. We then contacted Minister Kura through the Ministry of Labor's Communication Department for clarification. In response, Frederick Bay, Head of Communication, speaking on behalf of the minister, explained that Councillor Kura was specifically referring to the vacation job initiatives and not the ministry's overall operational budget. Based on this funding, we conclude that the claim that based on this funding, we conclude that the claim that the ministry does not have money in the budget for vacation job initiatives is correct, even though the Ministry of Labor is clearly allocated 1,503,332 in the 2024 national budget. It did not show any allocation specifically covering the vacation job program. This is all we have time for on the Fact Check segment. This segment is part of an MOU between Local Voices Liberia, OKFM, Pram FM and Kel Radio to counter disinformation to help the public make informed decisions. This MOU is funded by the Liberia Media Empowerment Project implemented by Internews with funding from the European Union. The funder or partner had no say in the electoral decision leading to the production of this Fact Check segment. We will be back with more Fact Check reports to help you know the facts. If you want us to fact check a claim for you, please send us a text to WhatsApp on 0777 556296 and we will check for you. Also follow us on Facebook at Local Voices Liberia, on X at LVL Fact Check, and go to our website at www.localvoicesliberia.com. I am Siawe Miapo. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Thanks, Thiawe, and the folks at Local Voices Liberia for all you do for our country. Let's go to OK 99.5 and TV and recognize some of the people who've joined us. Emmanuel Peewee says, "Good morning, OKFM. I'm watching from Slipway Community. Amara Duklet is following us. Samson Debbie Weir is following closely from, he says, the Liberian SNN News Network office in Monrovia. Way. Amsu Colmar is following from the Economic Freedom of Liberia. That's why he says. Roland Toll is watching us from Bushwick Island. Melvin Reed follows us. Samuka Keita joins in. Martin Lao is following. Alex Dizo is joining us from China. Alexander, congratulations to you for all you do for your compatriots there. Precious Pan Tete is watching us. Ahmed Jalanzo joins us. Auntie Shirley Kemon is following us too. Kopo pass away. Roosevelt Yuri Nadolo Kekula is joining us. Nadolo is joining us from somewhere in Banka or Botota. Morris Yoki Yoan is joining. Jefferson Z Thompson follows us. David Silly Abraham as Guwe. Rejoice Nimlan joins in. Bill W Nate is following from Dubai. Christian Sibo, that's Sigby. Christian Sigby is following from district number 15. Jerry Gay, Mohammed Melvin Koina, Wilson D. Sua, Fidel Fala, and all of you. Thanks to all of you for joining us on on the show this morning. Let's go to Uganda, where long-serving President Yoweri Museveni, who is 80 years old, has declared his intention on the ticket of the governing party to contest next year's presidential poll, opening the way for him to seek to extend his nearly 40 years in power. In his acceptance speech, Museveni said that he had responded to the call and, if elected, would press ahead with the mission to turn Uganda into a high middle-income country. And I'm wondering, why hasn't he done that since he been ruling the country for over 40 years now? They will get drafted. The United States has deported 8 people to South Sudan following legal battle that saw them diverted to Djibouti for several weeks. The men, convicted of crimes including murder, sexual assault, and robbery, had either completed or were near the end of their prison sentence. Only one of the 8 is from South Sudan. The rest are nationals of Cuba, Vietnam, Laos, and Mexico. U.S. officials said most of their home countries had refused to accept them. Yeah, who coming accept you, man? Welcome to the show. Today is the first Monday in July, the first working day in the week. It's always a pleasure. After a long break of weekend, it's good to be here again this morning to serve all of you. In the midst of everything, we want to say thanks to Minister Cooper Craft for the vacation job. We are hearing that some 1,000 Liberians, if that number is correct, are going to be benefiting from vacation job. It's a good thing. At least at the end of, I'm sure, August, it will put some monies in the pocket. At least some of them will be able to help their parents. If it is about purchasing copybooks or even book bag, or maybe you register and pay your term 1. And you know, sometimes, these days people can pay term 1, term 2, term 3. Some of the schools, you pay all to term 4. So the vacation job will help. I hope the ministry, can make a strong argument in this coming budget year to the legislature to allot few monies, few dollars, at least, some monies to, double the number. I want to see more Liberians benefiting vacation job. Before the war, those things were normal. It used to help parents. The guys, all of us go do vacation jobs somewhere, and by the time you look, you're able to earn small money to help your parents initially, to be able to take care of some of the issues. It's actually meant to support people in school. Again, yeah, maybe you're not in school, but it's actually meant to support people in school. So, Minister Cooper Craft, thank you. When you do good, we say thank you. That's how we do here. So thank you for the vacation job. I think it started the last school year. I could be corrected. And the number is increasing. At least next time the vacation job, the number is increasing. But make your case, Minister. Go to the legislature and make a case there. Now, over the weekend, Banga in Bon County witnessed a ceremony where former MPP partisan and Representative Marvin Cole officially joined. I see a lot of people saying Marvin left from the CDC. No, Marvin Cole was never a member of the CDC. That's the fact. He was never a member of the CDC. So he did not leave CDC to join CMC. That's not true. It was the CDC, MPP, and LPDP arrangement that brought Marvin Cole and others to the coalition. Marvin Cole is originally from the National Patriotic Party. He was Bon County chairman for many years, and then he ran on the ticket of the MPP, but in the coalition arrangement. So he ran on the ticket of the coalition, but originally he was from the MPP. As a result of the House of Representatives saga, he left the MPP because he said the party leadership was not standing by him, did not stand by him. And then the party's national chair, former Rep. George Moluba, argued that the party could not stand with Cole because Cole was making threatening comments that could undermine the peace of the country. So Cole parted way with the MPP, where he's been for many years. And so officially, he has joined the Citizens Movement for Change of Nimba Representative Musa Billiton. Musa is trying to strike very fast. I see him moving across. Take it or you leave it, like him or you hate him. He's moving across. He's trying to make his impact in most of these counties, trying to recruit people to his CMC, trying to recruit some lawmakers. I don't know how many lawmakers are there now on the, as members of the CMC at the House of Representatives. Because during the whole saga, you will see a batch of them with Musa Billiton. But I think he's making some progress. As far as politics and visibility of his political party is concerned, the last time I checked, he was in Magibi with Senator Nathaniel McGill, and then he will go back there. As a matter of fact, the national chair lady of the CMC, Alice Besa, is from Magibi, and then Billiton is now venturing into Bond County. He's recruited Marvin Cole, an influential lawmaker there, influential in different aspects. That he was re-elected, mean he has a base there. So you don't want to overlook Marvin. I'm told Musa Billiton wants to go to the southeast to see whether the CMC presence can be felt in the southeast. I'm told he wants to go to Grand Gile, he wants to go to Sino and all these places, and that is the political process. And in most of the places he's going, like in Magibi, I'm told he made a huge pronouncement there that the CMC is going to implement a project there. I did not follow in totality the programming banger, so I don't know what Billiton made any comment there. But he's trying to make the presence of his party felt. And what that's going to do is it's going to create a lot of political embarrassment for other political parties, because to see a new party on the block, in my words, in my opinion, coming just new and doing some of the things he's intending to do in some of the counties. When some of the other parties that are being around go there, it will put you on the wall. Sometimes you might want to do more than him, because people will argue. The way people argue about politics, they will say the guy is just coming and he's doing you being around and you're not being able to do this and all those kinds of things. So that is it about the CMC and so Marvin is not leaving. He didn't leave the CDC. No, he left the MPP because it was the arrangement that brought him to the coalition. Just wanted to say that to all of us. Again, as to whether he's able to make the CMC presence felt in Bond County to the extent that he will win more support, well, that's another argument altogether. But Musa Billiton is trying to move and steal the show in other words. But let's see how it will translate into anything. Like I said, watch the show. Beginning now to 2027. A lot of things are going to be happening. There will be alignment and realignment. People, and the politicians, when they're ready to leave one political party for another, they will have all the reasons. They will say a lot of things, right? So on Friday, the former Minister of Finance, Samuel Toe, had an elaborate press conference. He addressed the media on a lot of issues. But particularly, he was focused on some things that Mr. Stanley Waterspoon alarmed his corridor, and that he has sought advice from his lawyers. He would take Waterspoon to court and all these things. But particularly, Toe talked about the COVID-19 fund. And in the midst of everything he said, this is something we should pay attention to. There was this 25 million, the 25 million, I think it came from the IMF. And then there was another 5 that came from the World Bank, but more focus was on that 25. Minister Toe says, after all the date, there was a committee set up by President Weah, the COVID-19 committee. I'm sure was headed by the Ministry of Commerce. Wilson Tappe played a major role in that, and there are a lot of things happening. The former Minister Toe said, after all the did, there was some $1.17 million left, and he didn't touch that money, or the government did not touch that money as a government or as a Minister of Finance. He left the money there. And we should ask Minister Augustine Kafwan about that money. I thought that was an honest, honest from the context of saying it, bringing it up to say we used 23 point something. This is what we left. So you need to ask the current government to account for the money because we left it there. We did not use it. And then few minutes later, letters will now surface on Facebook about about a communication that was sent. And I will read the communication. This one was in February of this year, Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. These are some of the communications that surfaced on Facebook. I've checked and counter-checked. People from Finance Ministry have confirmed that this is legit, this is authentic. Via Madam Unjoroji, reallocation of remaining US $1,171,744.41 from the COVID-19 Response Fund. I present my compliments and write to confirm the government of Liberia's decision regarding the reallocation of the remaining US savings from the COVID-19 response funds currently held by the World Food Program. Following our recent discussions, the government has agreed that 20% of the total remaining funds amounting to a little over US 200,000 will be allocated to support the capacity strengthening of the national homegrown school feeding program based on the agreed work plan. 2, the remaining 80% amounting to a little over $900,000 will be returned to the government of Liberia and allocated to the Ministry of Agriculture. The ministry has committed to utilizing these funds to procure locally produced food from Liberian farmers, which will be directed to the homegrown school feeding program as well. We kindly request that WFP transfer the government's portion of the funds to the following account name GOL, General Revenue, account number, Bank, Central Bank of Liberia, the SWIFT code, and all these things. Minister Tua says, what has happened to the money? We left the money there. So by this communication, one can say yes, the money was left there, and so this letter was written. This letter is from Minister Augustine Kafwan in February of this year. It was written reaffirming or informing or confirming the government's position to say we got some money over there. We want 20% of that money amounting to a little over $200,000. We want to give that money for locally grown food. What they tried to do was, look, if we just leave that money and say maybe WFP should supply food for us to give to these different schools, they might take the money outside of the economy. The money will not be here. So let's think about locally grown food here. Maybe the planting, the cassava. Let's buy from the typical Liberian farmers so that money should go in their pockets. So this is why Minister Tua said we left the money there and the government of Liberia must account. But how did this money benefit come up? I have another communication that I will read. And that Mr. Tua has raised this issue. We need to ask a hard question and find out from these government people about this money. But I want to read another communication first before we come to ask all of the questions we want to ask. Now, in the 2023, on the 3rd of May 2023, there was a communication from the World Food Program that was sent to Minister Tua at that time. The 3rd of May 2023, Honorable Samuel Tua, Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Broad Street. I'm trying to lay the basis so all of us will follow. Dear Honorable Tua, reference, requests to the government to reallocate the COHFSP savings to support homegrown implementation. The United Nations World Food Program in Liberia presents compliments and acknowledges the continued partnership with the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning in implementation of interventions to improve the lives of the vulnerable population of Liberia. Honorable Minister, as you may be aware, the steering committee of the COVID-19 Household Food Support Program last year finalized the project implementation report. The chair of the steering committee, Professor Wilson Tappe, is presently discussing with the executive mansion to plan for the presentation of the report to His Excellency Dr. George Manuel Weah, President of Liberia. The date of presentation yet to be finalized. In the recommendations from the last steering committee meeting contained in the COHFSP final report, the steering committee proposed that the savings be reallocated to support a national homegrown school feeding program to be coordinated by the Ministry of Education in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, with the World Food Program serving as implementing agency. You may be aware that the total savings from the program is over $2 million, saved from the $25 million grant of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, while $800,000+ saved from $5 million grant of Ministry of Agriculture, World Bank. Currently, the World Food Program is implementing a homegrown school feeding program using an innovative cash-based transfer approach, targeting 177 public primary schools in Montserrat, Bon, Nimba, and Maryland counties. The program is previously daily on-site school meals to some 42,600 school children. This homegrown school feeding program that includes rice, gari, beans, and palm oil. The plan is to gradually increase the quantity of locally produced commodities that will be purchased from smallholder farmers to at least 3,000 metric tons annually. Honorable Minister, by creating demand for the locally produced commodities through the homegrown school feeding program, smallholder farmers will be assured of a guaranteed market for their produce and will be inspired to increase their production and productivity, thereby increasing the income they will get from the sale of the harvest. In addition to the above mentioned benefits, the homegrown school. So it's a long letter. Now, why am I reading this letter? I want to set the basis. From the reading of the letter, in this letter, you can see that the WFP in 2023 May was informing Minister Toer that, look, Minister, the steering committee on COVID, they finished doing a lot of things. The report is out, but Wilson Tappe just informed us that they are discussing with the executive mansion for presentation of the report to President Weah, but they have not set a date yet. However, the steering committee is proposing that portion of the money that was left be used for homegrown school feeding program. So by this communication, one can suggest that the original idea for the school feeding program to use the leftover money from the COVID-19 was actually a CDC government's idea. That is the fact. So the fact is, this was the CDC government's idea that, look, we have done all we could do. COVID, no more. Money left. What do? As part of efforts to provide food for our children in school, gari, rice, and what have you, we will read WHO to give up some of our money, that money, so we can put it to school feeding program. That way, money will go in the pockets of local farmers. So that was an idea of the CDC, that was Wilson Tappe, the original idea as per the communication, which was very good. Very, very good. And at that time, the steering committee for COVID-19 was a composition of the Ministry of Commerce, the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, the Ministry of Justice, and all these people. So Minister Toer, Wilson Tappe, all these people, they knew. They took this decision. By this communication, it was a committee decision. So they took the decision. Now, from the two letters, it appears to me as though they left the money there. So when the Unity Party government took over, Minister Boema Kamara may have, because there are 10 old notes and all these things, he may have read this particular thing and said, but this idea from the guys, CDC government, was not a bad idea. So we got to hold on to the other idea because it is for the benefit of the children. So we can't erase the one. I think this is a brilliant idea to provide food for the children in school, but local grown food, it will put money in the pocket of our local farmers. So Boeban Kamara may have accepted. And that discussion maybe were on until Augustine Gafwan took over, in my mind. When Gafwan took over, apparently Gafwan saw this thing. Gafwan said, nobody, the other program here from the past administration, I think is good. We can't cancel this. So all we need to do is to write the WFP, and reaffirm that they should allocate this money. They should give us this money so we can use. I'm not sure Minister Toa did not know about it because he was a member of the committee, the steering committee for the COVID-19. Like I said, this was a brilliant idea proposed by the CDC government. Brilliant. So two of them knew. They went in the meeting and all of them discussed it and knew about it. So this government inherited it and decided to continue, in my opinion, because they believe that it's a good thing to do. So it's nothing new. So both to Augustine Gafwan, all of them know about this thing because they say it's good. Now, my kind of thing is, the government now should be telling us where is this money, or whether they have implemented the project. Has the money hit the government of Liberia's account? Is it coming to a consolidated account or the Ministry of Finance account? Have you used the money? Do we have the money? Because it is one thing to request. It's another thing for WFP to grant the request and make the money available to a particular account. So what I will do today after the show, I will reach out to the Ministry of Finance. I will reach out to the folks at the Ministry of Finance to hear from them as to whether the money has hit any government account or a consolidated account. And when will this process begin? Exactly, that's what we will do. So from the two letters, you can know. From the first letter, from the letter I read from WFP, you can know that, like I said, it was an idea from the steering committee in 2023. Brilliant. So when the government came, they may have seen all these things. They said, but we can still go with it. The other idea is not bad. So that is how they decided to write again, because it was a new government, which is the right thing to do. So we got to follow up now. Like I said, I would now have to reach out to the Ministry of Finance. Based on what the finance ministry will tell me, then we can also reach out to WFP. Because if this is supposed to be a school feeding program and the students supposed to benefit, then the government must tell us whether the money has hit, how much, and when they will start the program so all of us can follow it. Yesterday, we started seeing on social media. So that is it about that. That is actually it about that the idea came from the CDC administration. It came from the steering committee. It was the steering committee that proposed this idea about the whole school feeding thing. And, you know, when the government took over, they decided not to abolish it because they thought it was good for the country. But we need to know as to whether they've started the program or whether the money, the request for reallocation has hit the government account or anywhere. We need to know. 8 o'clock, some folks from the Standard Authority will be here. 9 o'clock, we'll host Senator Darius DeLong. Now, yesterday we were hearing again that the Interministerial Council, the IMCC, is that the name? Interministerial Council on Concession, I'm sure, set up by the president. They met and signed the Ivanko agreement. I reached out to a lot of them, and one of them responded to me and said they did not sign yesterday. He said they actually signed on Monday. They did a brief signing ceremony following the National Unity Program. And he said what they did yesterday was to discuss the next step forward. The next step. You see, most of the times, the things that can bring all these speculation and things is secrecy in the government. All these governments need to run an open government. Maybe it's not a bad thing for you to sign on a non-working day, but make it public. Because you're signing, you're not hiding anything. This is legit. So you want to get the press involved, because you can get everybody in the country to kind of say we're signing something. Get the media involved. And most of these signing ceremonies, when Finance Ministry and World Bank, they all grew, and IMF, when they're signing for all the $1 million, the press can be there to cover. They can make speeches. So the Ministerial Council, they say they sign on. Of course, there are a lot of processes that they have signed. Amy, it is a law. They will negotiate. They consummated and they've signed it. The IMCC through the National Investment Commission, we are aware that they will transmit or they will submit the instrument to the president. The president will sign it and submit it to the legislature. The legislature will have deliberation, and then at that point, a lot of things will happen in public. Yeah, but the initial signing from the IMCC should have been public. It should, in my opinion, be nothing to hide, because you're not hiding anything. You're not hiding anything. So, but when you make the thing to look like secret, especially at the time when the president is supposed to be, I was just looking at some kind of connect. I was looking at something in my own calculation in my mind. Look, the Avinco is a subsidiary to the HPS. The whole HPS thing we've been talking about. And who owns HPS? Robert Finland. And I'm told he's a very good friend to U.S. President Donald Trump. So I was sitting and thinking, look, why did people rushing to sign this thing on a Saturday? In the midst of all these speculations, why couldn't they sign anything on a working day? Or even if they were signing anything on a Saturday, why not invite the press just to witness the signing ceremony while they're secret? Then I realized that Avinco is subsidiary to HPS, and the owner of HPS, Robert Finland, is a good friend of President Trump. And then I've been told by multiple sources that this man played a major role, very major role, in getting President Boakai or Liberia to be among the list of the 5 countries and 5 presidents that will meet President Trump this week. Was there a bargaining to say, well, who will make sure Liberia, you come to meet Donald Trump, but before you come, you got to, the IMCC or whoever over there, you got to sign something. Because, people can discuss bargaining. Politics are interest. All these things are interest. So did he make Liberia's case to the administration in Washington for our president to go there on the basis that, look, while you are coming, your IMCC should also make sure they sign that Ivanko, agreement, so we have something in our hands, so we have something to say, even though you will go through all the other processes, but you got to sign something. I have done my share of the bargaining. The government is responsible to do its share of the bargaining. Was that the case? When you sign these things and you make it a little secret, no matter what, look, most of the laws say in the, let me go to Article 15 of the Liberian Constitution this morning and read something. Article 15 of the Constitution. Let's go right here. Let's go to 15. Let's go to Article 15. Can we go to 15? Article 15 of the Constitution. I want to bring something to your attention. Let's go to 15. We will endeavor to go to Article 15 here. I want to read a provision here in the Constitution. That's what I'm on. I want to. Where do I go here? I want to read a provision in the Constitution. Folks, just give me a few minutes. Fundamental right. Yeah, Article 15. Article 15C. Article 15B, Article 15C. Rights of public to be informed. In pursuance of this right, there shall be no limitation on the public right to be informed about the government and its functionaries. So we, the people of Liberia, we're supposed to be informed about everything our government is doing. It's not supposed to be secret. Right now, we're talking about amendment of the act creating the National Port Authority. Already there is a discussion, there is a debate in the public as to whether there were express invited or not, or there were any hearing for express or not. Trust me, maybe that law will pass and the president will sign into him, people will not even see the law. How many of us can really see the different laws the legislature can pass in the country? It is supposed to be our right. The government is supposed to be open. The government is supposed to tell us, because these are the laws that will affect us by extension, and so all of us are supposed to know it. So when the lawmakers can even come up, can you imagine some of the lawmakers can say on radio that they didn't see a certain law? Someone can say, I didn't even see the draft of that law. We just voted for it on 4G. Then I was listening, as a matter of fact, the reconciliation initiative by the president and the government is a very good thing. I was listening to, I think the guest speaker, they said they brought him from Rwanda, right? A genocide survivor, right? I don't know what this is, the guy.
Today's launch is not just about unveiling a new platform. It is about entering into a new area of data-driven decision-making in energy management. This system is designed to provide real-time, accurate, and accessible data across all segments of the energy value
No,
chain.
I don't think that him. I listened to the person who spoke from Rwanda. I think they said he was a guest speaker. He said something. And you know, when I listened to the speaker, Richard Cohen, and the Proton Yombly Lawrence, I refer them to the guy. I'm just not finding that recalling, but the news carried the money. He said there can be no reconciliation in the absence of something. He said something. We can do all the reconciliation efforts. When people are not happy, it will get undermined. If we do not create the enabling environment, you see, the definition of peace is not the absence of war. No. The definition of peace is not the absence of war. When people go to bed hungry, you can't lecture them about peace. When people are not employed, you can't talk to them about reconciliation. When few people eating what everybody's supposed to eat, you can't talk to them about unity. They will not listen. And so I thought that was a strong message. I'm just not finding the recalling. I hope I can find it later on before we leave the show this morning. He says something that people cannot listen to reconciliation or unity when they are hungry, or something. The guy said it. Very, very, very important. And that is the reason why many of the time we say we must look at our laws. We cannot have a constitution since 1986 that will still be operating. We need to even look at our minimum wage. The minimum wage we had 5 years ago, 6 years ago, can we still just continue it? There are plenty of things we need to do. This is the morning rush. So 8:15 we'll have our friends from the Standard Authority here, and then at 9 o'clock this morning, Montserrado County Senator Darius DeLong will be here, and we will talk about a lot of issues on the show this morning. Call us on 0777 70099 and 5, 0555 9959 and 5, and the other numbers to call. Let me get the first caller. Hello?
Good morning, Clarence. This is Daniel Nyankona, communication consultant at the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning.
Mr. Nyankona, how are you?
I'm okay.
Okay, let's hear you first, because I was thinking about reaching out to the Ministry of Finance for a particular thing, but let's hear you.
Yes, I was coming and monitoring you.
Okay.
Little business quite well, and your explanation will jive with most of what has happened. we all are in this country, and 2020 to 2022, we witnessed the intervention of the Republic of Liberia. The money in question, 25 million, comes as a loan from the International Monetary Fund. So the government of Liberia will have to pay back. So it's expenditure. We need to know where this money went, who received what, who expended what. So it's very key. And as a Liberian myself, will call for audit. But let's talk to the major issue. You asked a question whether the 1.17 million has returned to government covers. Minister Gaffron assumed his now ministerial duties at the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. He agreed with you that the CDC administration, this one was excellent. It's your decision. This is a sound decision that this money goes to homegrown school feeding. So he confirmed in your word, affirming the decision of the CDC administration, the decision that Samuel Tuer led steering committee, the Commerce Ministry led steering committee took. He affirmed that decision. And so the WFP folks were requesting 500,000 of the 1.17 million. And so the ministry leadership said, no, hey, we can't go down that route. We'll give you 20% and the 80%. And the short of the long is that this 80%, over 900,000, was transferred on the 3rd of July 2025, long before Mr. Samuel Tuer press conference.
So the truth of the matter is, the money has been transferred to what? Consolidated account of what? July 3rd?
To the consolidated account of the Republic of Liberia.
You said July 3rd?
July 3rd, about 1:30.
Today is the 7th. So you're talking about like what? On the 3rd of this month.
On the 3rd of this month. That was somewhere around.
At least we'll get something. We'll hear something. Yep.
On Thursday, Samuel Tuer had a press conference on Friday. So no one knew that Samuel Tuer was going to talk about COVID money. So the processes were rolling. So Minister Gaffron did not authorize any money disbursement to her personal use.
Okay, Daniel, thank you. Other callers, we have to take them. Now, the communication consultant at the Ministry of Finance has just confirmed that the money entered a consolidated account. The WFP wired the money there on the 3rd. Some 900,000+. The reason why I say I wanted to reach out, so we know where that money is. Whether I did not use the money, and we'll still do additional follow when they start in the program, which counties is supposed to have fed, and all these kinds of things. Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
My name is Jonathan S. and I call from Street.
Yeah, Jonathan.
Yeah, Chief Clarence, thank you for all of the analysis and discussion this morning. I want to be very fair with you. Where you talk about a money issue, me, I don't want to talk on it yet because I want to get the details of this before I will say anything. But concerning about transparency when it comes to our country, where you were talking about Article 15 of our Constitution, Chief, the reason why the people will continue, not the government, but the previous government, the past government, from 1847 up to present, the reason why the people continue to have for us, because they're not fair to us as a citizen. Our leaders are not fair to us. Because if you're doing anything in the interest of the citizen, no need to have. You need to be transparent to your people. But the people, because they got a hailing agenda, this is the reason why they sign most of these documents. You and I, we are not aware. So now we can hear it from they say gossip. And they're wrong. They're not supposed to be stopped. So the question for now will be asking is, who will tell them really different?
Yeah,
because
but
when other people are on the fence, they will criticize. And when they do the same thing other people were doing.
Okay, let's hear you. Good morning. You're coming in very low. I don't know. This line has developed some issues. Hello, are you there? Wow. Our technicians will come to see it. It's developed some problem. I really don't know what's going on. Hello?
Yeah, good morning, Piso.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, Piso, there's a voice of Sabu Rasta. I'm phoning in from point 4. Piso, this morning, Piso in Zimbabwe. Let me say thank you for the show and thank you for the fascinating topic. But Piso, my has very drawn to the issue of our remaining money. So Piso, here is my concern. So if
which money now?
The remaining money that Senator talked about.
Oh, okay, all right. Let's hear you.
So what I mean is that if they want to, if I'm not going to come, also we're not going to know the money. And you promise all that time you will not do business as usual. So, by right time, you just have to go 50 and not see. By right, we should be informed on day to day and everything that's going on in the government, Clarence. So, you mean that Clarence, if there's no Guru Balu, Sheku, we're not going to know the money left behind, Clarence. We're not going to be informed on our money, Clarence. So, that's the way people come out as usual.
Okay. Okay, my brother. Hello.
Good morning, Clarence.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you. This is Samuel Harris calling for District of Country. You see, Clarence, in this country, our leader, pastor, and Clarence, they take out to be people that walk on the street every day. Look, President, we are doing a very good job in the country that will put a blow on the mark and benefit the citizens of this country. But many of us, we are officials, not from all in the CDC, people that have regard for all. Because we speak truth to power. When you're being in leadership, look, carry account to your citizen is not a wrong thing to do. That was why you said that person will all minister and representative across the country. Look, that brother have man for this country, they have a good thing, representation of very ministry agency. But people fail over the administration to reach out to the common citizen and still our things. Look at our food program. It was done for foreigners. It was for the citizens of the country. So, Mr. 12, when I will come out, that morning, I promise you, Mr. Johnson, it was going to go in the pocket of the guy.
Okay.
We work for the country. We will say that people say that it's all for citizen. And not what they for citizen. The resource of the country will pass down to the government or the country.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello. Wow, this line is giving some issues. Good morning.
Morning, Clarence.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Yeah. Thank you. My name is Scott. People are calling from 12 this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I listened to you very well for your analysis. One question you asked about standard price. Before you talk about balance, what kind of standard? Before you talk about balance investment, but also talk about receipt, how much you receive and how much you expended.
But I think we'll talk about that. He said they expended some $23+ million.
Yeah, but how did they expend it 23 million plus?
Well, maybe that's why people calling for audit now. People calling for audit of the COVID-19 money.
Yes, you should be asking where, but how do you expend it 23 million plus from that fund? So that would be the high question for you to be discussing. So you're talking about only the balance money, which we don't know whether it came getting confirmed or it came just 2 days ago.
Okay, Chief. Unfortunately, I didn't attend the press conference, but yes, you are right. These are the questions. The former finance minister said $23+ million was expended. So people now calling for an audit of the COVID-19 fund and all these things. But we were focusing on a little over 1.17 million that he talked about that he didn't touch. We wanted to know where is that money. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, this is Robin Khan, and I come from Agarabe resident.
Robin, good morning. Let's hear you.
Let me appreciate you this morning. You talk about something about what we call transparencies. Anything that are concerning about this country, especially this concession argument that will bring progress of this country, I think Liberians should be in the know. But more, these are the problem. All our government officials, government to government, the sad argument at the end of the day, the feedback that will come from the Liberian people is always negative. I can remember this is the same company the CDC government have problem with, and they all got serious action towards it. This government again who is talking about transparencies now again have gone into secret because President Bouaka is now heading to America to be the U.S. president. So meaning they are in a coherent. They like it or not, they will just have to, whether it is wrong or not, it's not in the interest of Liberian people. That document is signed today. So where are we heading with the country? It is that the see repetition now. We all have to talk about when Honorable Stowe said they made mistake or the CAPI terminal. Then we are heading again. Because if America does not agree or the government does not compromise with the US government, then the citizen will have to suffer. And that's where we are heading. Thank you very much this morning.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Hello?
Yeah, good morning, Clarence.
Good morning, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Clarence Kimambu calling from Ghana. You know, he stated a fight. I think the best way everyone and all will be informed to the best is the auditor. Is the auditor. Now, even the uses of some of that money, the Liberian people may not know how it was used. Okay? Even the balance, they have been cut clean. And if the government could have come and follow the same path of CDC, for me, is good intent. But now they say, July 3rd, before they transfer that money in consideration account. But now, the best way, you know, any little thing in your country, that politics. Any little thing in your country, that politics. But the best thing to do now is let auditor go there. The amount the former finance minister used and the balance, whether it's in the account or whatsoever may have happened to it, that will be clear understanding. Not holding and pulling.
Okay. Do you people remember when the whole COVID-19 money business started? There was a big debate here during the regional president. We are as to whether WFP should control the money, who bring in the money, blah, blah, blah. People were talking from the backdrop that it will be difficult for the government to audit these institutions. I don't even know whether the government will be able to audit the WFP. You know, and there are just a lot of things. But again, this is where we are. Thanks to all of you. Tomorrow we'll continue. I will listen to. There was a portion of that press conference yesterday where Mr. Tour talked about giving additional money, I think, to the National Elections Commission. I will endeavor to listen to that portion. And let's see whether it was in keeping with what he's supposed to do or not. We will do that, and we'll talk about all of these things. But it was good for us to talk this one because at least now the Ministry of Finance, one of his consultants on communication says $900,000+ entered a consolidated account on the 3rd of July for the purpose for this program. So at least we now know that the money now is in government's possession. The next questions now will be, when are they starting the whole school feeding program? It is intended for local farmers to benefit from it. They're supposed to buy corn and cassava and other things from the local farmers. But again, Liberians are still calling for an audit of the 23 million. This is your government. The government been here more than 1 year now. It said the government, some of the things that the government said they would have paid attention to in the context of investigation and other things. The other time you listen to the president again, when you were instructing the justice minister, go, reawaken some of these cases. We look forward to all that. But we have two officials from the Standard Authority. Is it called the National Standard Authority? The Liberia Standard Authority. We have two officials. We have the head and one other official. We'll be talking about. Let me know today what they call that Standard Authority. What do they do there? Every time we hear, is it a lab? Do they test goods and other things on the market? We will ask them to introduce them. 9 o'clock, Senator DeLong will be here and we'll have a conversation. By the way, I have extended invitation to Martin Colley and Tier 12 for a debate tomorrow. I like to say the both of them, I think, are attempting to consent. Martin said he will get back to me. 12 has consented, and I'll get back to them. Before the show, if the both of them consent, I will let you know. So we'll do a debate with the both of them tomorrow. Whole day the men on Facebook, they just arguing, which is healthy too. So we need to hear from them. Okay, let's talk to our guests. Good morning, sir. Let's begin from here. Just introduce yourself.
Good morning, very much. So glad to be here, Clarence. I'm Stephen Wa Mambu, the Director General of the Liberia Standards Authority.
Good morning. I am Willie Nicholas Williams, and I'm the head of Department of Metrology at the Liberia Standards Authority.
Okay, sir. Mr. Mahmoud is good to see the face. It's good to match the face with the name. At some point, the name was all over the place. It's good to have you here. Now, thank you so much, Director General of the National Standard Authority. What is the National Standard Authority? What do you do? Just give us a real picture so we have an appreciation of your work.
Thank you very much, Clarence. The Liberia Standards Authority, by law, it is what we refer to the apex body responsible for standardization. What it means is that in the context of trade, in the context of development, the issue of standards have become very much important. More especially so, we have global trade now, and regional bodies are coming together to talk about trade. Even at the national level, the issue of standards is like the tool that you need that drives trade. So it's no longer the issue of tariff, for example. So just to give you a clear understanding, imagine that Liberia was favored to send cassava to China, for example. Even after such deal has been struck, the Chinese government will not just open her doors and allow cassava to go there. China has standards that cassava must be subjected to. Likewise, any other trade at such a time, the issue of standard becomes very, very much important as a tool for trading. So every country is incumbent upon them to have a standard body that will be responsible to propagate such standards, because without a standard body, a country remains vulnerable. In such a way that if, for example, if we are to export a product or import a product from India, what the Indian supplier will ask, does Liberia have standard in such area or for such product and every other thing? So in that context, if a country doesn't have a kind of standard body that will be able to promulgate standards and to ensure that product that comes in this country, or even those that are produced within the country for it to enter a local market, then the country is very vulnerable. And nowadays, most of these businesses are looking for countries where there's no such body in order to set at least a kind of criteria. Then the citizens also, they are exposed to a lot of threats. So just to give you an understanding why we need a standard body. We need a standard body to ensure that Liberia can trade. We need a standard body to ensure that the citizens of this country are well protected. We need a standard body to ensure that even the industries we have, the SMEs, they are provided the ground for them to build competitiveness of their product in such a way that they can also trade out of Liberia or even within the local market. So in summary, a standard body is a key institution that is necessary to build a sound economic reform, and to ensure that our traders, our industries, SMEs, and even the citizens are well protected, and we can facilitate trade across the region, also international market. So in short, that's why we have the Standards Authority.
Mr. Williams, let's hear you, head of the Department of Metrology. What do you do? What's your work? What's your function there?
Thank you, Clarence. Metrology is measurement. Normally, people make mistakes with metrology and meteorology. Meteorology is weather, but metrology is measurement. So at the Liberia Standards Authority, we have a department that is dedicated to measurement. And this department ensures that measurement used within our country, that we do within our country, are accurate, thereby ensuring that measurement in trade meet national requirements, measurement for industries, and measurement for health and safety, measurement for manufacturing. So what we have is we ensure that these different types of measurement are traceable to national measurement standards, because at the Liberia Standards Authority, we have Liberia's national measurement standards. Those are physical standards that we use to have these measurement devices across the different industries, across use in trade and so forth, to have them calibrated or verified to ensure that they have the accuracy required for the purpose. So at the Department of Measurement, Department of Metrology at LISA, we ensure that we provide measurement services to our public, to our industry, and even for public consumption as well.
That's good. Mr. Mambo, let's look at capacity. You know, that standard authority, by your explanation and what I've heard, you're supposed to do a lot. You know, let's look at the capacity there in terms of training, manpower to do what you want to do, and as to whether we have the kind of lab, the kind of capacity to do what we want to do or what we should be doing.
Well, thank you very much, Clarence. On Irish, the National Standards Authority is an emerging institution, and you are right. The demand of our services, in fact, to support government programs and to support industries, and also to ensure that we are very visible in every part of Liberia, our capacity is still limited as it is. But however, the Liberia Standards Authority is a translated body from the National Standards Laboratory. When we started first, I was hired as a consultant, established the program along with 2 other persons, and we first started with the technical wing of what we call today as the National Standards Laboratory. So then ECOWAS had a program because of all these regional integration. A gap analysis was made among countries, and Liberia and 2 other countries, Guinea-Bissau, have very what we call poor quality infrastructure. Other countries around, they have already gone ahead, Senegal, Nigeria, etc. So during that analysis, gap analysis, we found that, well, one, we never had the institutional capacity. There was no the presence of institution. It was not legislated. And it also found out that in terms of technical capacity, we lack, because most of what we do is science, engineering, and driven. You need kind of capacity that will be able to, in other words, be competent, because the Standards Authority is driven by competence. So with that, we never had such ready-made competence to be able to drive the Standards Authority, and that's why we started as a standard lab, building the capacity over the time. So actually we selected the full area to start, because the Liberia Standards Authority actually spins through every sector, mining, and the social, down to education, everything that costs standards, is all about it. So actually we selected the full, area, and we were able to establish about 5 labs. And over the years, we have accessed regional capacity building opportunities, and just to make sure that we can start what it takes. But actually, till now, we have a lot of capacity deficiency, in a sense that we still need a lot. Example, we still need a lot of equipment, scientific equipment, because you see, standards should not be something like a guess. For example, you see the phone, you say, that's substandard. I mean, for us, science-based, it must be objective. What is your evidence that this thing is substandard? That means you should have a range of services, technical services, that can provide you with the justifiable evidence to show that this is substandard. Or let's look at it around. What happens if a situation arises in Liberia and there's foodborne diseases, and you have product coming into this country? How sure are we that most of the sicknesses that we have, that people incur, they are not traceable to the type of food that comes here? You understand? So you make the assumptions, but it shouldn't be like that. You know, in a world trading system, they say everything should be scientific based. So that means the country should have a social institution that has the capacity in terms of equipment, capacity in terms of manpower, well trained, not only trained, but they must be competent. You know, there are international standards for personal staff. They must go through it to ensure that they are competent, because you know nowadays there is a saying in the global world, say one tested somewhere, tested everywhere. That's why your labs must be accredited, internationally accredited, again a standard in such a way that whatever practices that we are doing in our labs, you know, at the Laboratory Standards Authority, you go to America, you go to Russia, you go to Nigeria, you go to Ghana, and whatsoever, we all deal with the same system, the same standards, and in fact the same equipment. You understand? So it's a centralized global competence, you know, that a lab or a standards body must have in such a way that if you sign a certificate or a test report, once it gets to America, they see it and know that that's a system, and those who are producing it, they are competent. Then obviously there's no need for America or Ghana to even test that product, because it comes from a corresponding institution that has such competence. Against that background, I will tell you, Clarence, that we still need a lot of support. In fact, where we are at public work, the environment, as far as we are concerned, is still a big challenge for us. We want to move to a more spatial place, and what currently we are doing is that we are devising our strategic plan, you know, for the next 6 to 10 years, because to build such capacity is not just issue. Just imagine that we have to build competence around medical devices, we have to build competence around food, around engineering, even all the products that comes here and go, and especially a strategic one that the country actually is trading in. We should have competence to be able to roll out those services and every other thing.
Now, so, you just said you have, currently you're operating 5 labs.
Yes.
Labs, am I correct?
Yeah.
Let's look at the services you're offering at the moment as far as your concentration on food product is concerned.
Well, currently we have the food chemistry lab. We have the microbiology labs. We also have a GMO lab, which is genetically modified organisms that we do test. Besides that, from Mr. Wigbe's own end, we have the temperature, the pressure, we have the mass lab. And we also have what we call the certification unit, the inspection unit, and we also have what we call standards and quality. So of this lab, one lab now is accredited, which is the food chemistry lab. The microbiology lab is currently going on international accreditation, which we are now, the American Association of Accreditation is in the process of accrediting.
So let's talk about the food quality lab.
Yeah, the food quality.
What do you do there?
What we do is actually we first of all test for the presence of microorganisms, food safety, because that is basic. Yeah, so we test to know what are the presence of microbes, especially pathogens, which are very much the agents for most of the foodborne diseases. We test this. So we test water, we test food product, baby product, and whatsoever under microbiology. For the food chemistry lab, we test what we call personate analysis. And also we provide information for the nutritional fats of food. That is where we are currently, and we also building capacity to be able to test what we call pesticide residues. We look at fish and fish product. We also test our basic local product like cocoa, coffee. We also look at palm oil. We test for the basic quality of palm oil. We also have issue of flour, gari, and all these cereal products. We are testing them. So currently, there where our scope lies, and we are getting capacitated in order to roll out our certification program. What it means is that local industries can now come to the standards lab or the Laboratory Standards Authority will be able to inspect, certify your product, and give you what we call a certification mark. We are also about to initiate what we call the quality promotion. That means the National Quality Award, which will actually enhance quality among our various producers. We also have a training program in place on standards. What it means is that as many of our producers that want, for example,
Mr. Momo,
yeah,
we'll come to that. Let's the food thing. I want to spend some time on it.
Yeah.
So how do you do this whole food quality thing? I mean, you move from. Just give me a broader picture.
Okay.
How do you do it?
So this is what you do. When you have a request for testing of food, you come to the lab. And then samples are taken, either from your production side or you importing food. You come, you submit the samples. The samples are taken to the lab. Now, in the lab, we have test methods that are international test methods that analysts have been trained in. So we discuss with the customer the parameter, with safety parameter, because they are basic things we test for. Like you go at the clinic. You say you get malaria, they will test for certified to know whether you get malaria or typhoid and other things like that. So likewise, in food analysis, there are basic things we test for. So if for food safety, at the chemistry lab, we test for maybe 5 to 6 parameters. And after we have tested for those parameters, we send the result to the quality and the tech and the standard side. They interpret the results, and then we'll be able to tell you that this is the status of the food sample you brought against standards. It's not just arbitrary; it's against standards. And if, for example, if the Ministry of Commerce sends food for us to test, we also interpret that results and send it to the regulators. But if it is a private, customer that comes, we then explain your results to you.
Okay. So you are not a regulator.
Yes, that's where we want to come and clarify.
Because I'm getting a little bit confused.
Yes.
It's so good because I thought you were a regulator. For example, maybe you periodically go in the field to do testing of food on the market. You have people employed to see food coming in the country at the port. You do testing. That was what I thought. But from your explanation, what's the difference now between you and the Ministry of Commerce?
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Clarence. We are an institution under the Ministry of Commerce. Ministry of Commerce has a mandate. And one of that mandate is to ensure that there is standard available for commercial or what we call trade. Now, the ministry is a regulator, but it can be the landsman at the same time being the player. That's why under the act of the ministry have set up 3 basic service agencies, LBR, to register businesses. The Liberal Standards Authority to provide standards and related services that will facilitate trade. Then you have the Liberal Intellectual Property Office, which is responsible for creation acts and all of things like that. So based on that, we then provide the services to ensure, that those in the industries, those that are importing and exporting product, they comply. So Ministry of Commerce gave us the mandate to do certain activities that will aid in making sure that food product or any other product complied with standards. You understand? So that's how it's like for good regulatory practices. If you have the mandate of you providing license, for example, as a ministry, or you have the mandate of giving maybe permits, then obviously that will call for services that those industry or importers or exporters must meet to. You have to create the environment that they will access those services to ensure that they can meet up with the regulations. Understand? So, anytime the Ministry of Commerce says, for example, please, Liberal Standards Authority, we want you to, for example, ensure that this product meet up with this regulation.
Mhm.
Then we take on that authority.
Okay,
in order
so
to
they
do
send it to you.
Yes, for not only the Ministry of Commerce, but every other government ministry, according to our act, we assist them with technical specifications. We make sure that where they need support in order for their regulations to really work, we provide those services.
Okay, okay. At least now I have a picture. Other than being a regulator, you're also, in other words, an arm of the Ministry of Commerce, but with specific responsibilities.
Yes.
Williams, let's hear in your own department. I heard him talking about temperature and break it down to the extent that we'll understand. What really do you do?
Okay, Clarence, let me make it very, very simple. I will take it in stages.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take, for example, you have a farmer planting cocoa.
Yep.
He harvested his cocoa and he brings it to the market to sell. The cocoa is weighed. Based on the weight, he's paid. Now, what if the scale that is being used to weigh the cocoa is inaccurate? The farmer is going to lose a lot of money. So it is a responsibility of the government to ensure that the scales that are used for these purposes, weighing, are accurate. So the institution responsible for that is the Liberia Standards Authority. We have the capacity and the capability to do that. Also, looking at the industries use a lot of measuring devices in their processes to produce whatever they are doing. Mm-hmm. Then these measuring devices at times go out of calibration. That means they don't measure accurately again. So they will need an external body to come and check to ensure that these measuring devices are accurate. So based on that, we provide a service called calibration service. We calibrate in measuring devices that are used in the industries. Now, most of these industries that want to go for ISO certification or ISO accreditation, the measuring devices calibration is a major requirement. So if a company wants to go for ISO accreditation, they will have to ensure that their devices are calibrated and calibration certificates are issued. Most often, institutions will have to go to Ghana, go to South Africa to get external calibration services. But now we have the Liberia Standards Authority that have these calibration labs that can provide the calibration services needed by our industries. Now, let's look at it again. You go to a medical center or a medical facility and they run your test. These devices that are used along the medical chain, most of them are measuring devices. What if the device that are being used to do a test is reading inaccurately? Most of the time, the doctors will not know. Even the lab technicians might not know that the device is reading inaccurately. And the device will provide wrong results. And the doctor will use the wrong results to prescribe medication or treatment for an individual. So if that scenario happens, can you imagine the consequences of what's going to occur? So the Liberia Standards Authority also have capacity to provide calibration services for medical devices to ensure that medical devices are accurate for the purpose for which they are used. Now, we look at another scenario. Mm-hmm. Most of the time we ship by air and by sea. And these shipments are subjected to weighing before they can even enter a vessel. So if you ship a container out of Liberia, the container has to be weighed by APM terminals. An APM terminal use a weigh bridge to weigh the container. If the weigh bridge is inaccurate, it's going to provide inaccurate results, and the shipment, the total weight that's going to be provided to the ship is going to be wrong. And sometimes, if you have this kind of errors, you will lead to a catastrophic event.
It's dangerous.
Yes. The same thing goes to the airport. You have scales on the airport that provide the weight for the aircraft to carry. If the scales are not reading right, they would provide the wrong reading. So the Liberia Standards Authority provide these measurement services to ensure that we can curtail all these things and provide a better measurement.
How often
for our
do
society.
you do some of these services? Do you provide some of these services?
Okay, the services are in two folds. There are legal metrology services and there are industrial metrology services. The legal metrology services are mandatory services. That means it is by law. Now, according to our general business law, Chapter 1 is dedicated to measurement, and everything there indicates that measurement instruments used in trade and trade-related activities must be accurate. And the Liberia Standards Authority is also the body that is competent to do that. So Then we have the industrial metrology services. Those are requested services. So if an industry feels that maybe I think my equipments are not reading too right, or I need to be sure of the accuracy of these equipments, they can request.
Go to the standard authority.
Go to the standard authority.
Now,
Request
Mr. Mambo, the other time the acting head of the National Insurance Corporation of Liberia was here, and we had a very good conversation. Little did some of us know the work they do and the impact. And I was asking him some of these same questions. Like, it seemed to me as though your institution is very important, and you're supposed to have a lot of work to do. But I think public awareness is crucial, and it's good that you're here today. And like I was asking William, are heads of government ministries and agencies themselves, are they knowledgeable about the work you're supposed to do? Are they providing you the opportunity to do? Because William just said there are some of the works that are mandatory. You know, I'm just thinking you're supposed to be working. What are people can pull to you? The kind of work you're supposed to do. What do people know about it? What are people giving you the opportunity? I'm just thinking.
Yeah, thank you, Clarence. I think that's one of the reasons why we are here. By and large, most of the government agencies yet don't really know our role and function. On the other hand, we have had an increase in engagement since my appointment. Like for example, we have a working relationship with the RREA. Currently, we are providing services in which we are responsible for these products that has to do with solar energy. So we support RREA with our conformity assessment services. We also in a very good working relationship with the Liberia Electricity Regulatory Commission. You know, they have also a technical regulation in place when it comes to electrical products and that of what. So currently we are working along with them to see how we can begin to implement the issue of that regulation that will cover electrical product and that of electronics product. We also working with the newly established Liberia Food Authority. We have been working along with MPhil and that of the Ministry of Health when it comes to the National Fortification Alliance. But by and large, as you said, our work covers a lot of space in government. And we are in the process, as you can see today, to really reach out to many of our government agencies and for us to talk. Like, for example, the PPCC. We will have an engagement with them for any vendor to be able to provide services or provide by government, product and whatsoever. We are coming up with a very strong engagement to make sure that those products that are bought, they are subjected to Liberian standards. You understand? So we're cutting across every government sector. Okay. And as Mr. Williams said, there are some of the services that must be mandatory in order to protect consumers, in order to make sure that value for money is established. So,
okay.
Yeah, those are.
Before we take on the lunch, somebody just sent me the text. Say, good morning, Clarence. Thanks for inviting the team. I have observed that most of the products that are made in Liberia are of poor qualities. Example, the plastic materials such as buckets, drums, and plumbing pipes. Can this agency assign representatives to all of the production sites in Liberia so as to monitor production activities?
Yeah, for that, Clarence, I must tell you that the Minister of Commerce, Madam Dagose, has given us some of our first preference, which has to do with building materials, you understand? And currently, the first thing we are doing is that we are setting up a National Technical Harmonization Committee for building materials. And we are looking at not just plastic material, but zinc, nails, steel, because these have been the major concerns that many customers has lodged complaint on. So the first thing is that we are going to adopt standards, national standards surrounding all the building materials. Currently, we have just national specifications, but we want to have national standards in such a way that then we want to set up a scheme this scheme will have the responsibility to ensure that all building materials conform to national standards. And that will take some time, but we have given like 3 months to be able to run, to establish it and to establish a scheme. So that concern of the quarter is highly important, and we have noted it. When it comes to building materials, then obviously those plastic material will be subjected to test to ensure that they conform to national standards.
Okay. Well, the head of the National Standards Authority, Stephen Wamangbu, he's here along with Weligbe. Weligbe and Williams is the head of the Department of Metrology. I hate to mispronounce people's names, so I can be careful. That name is from the southeast, I think so.
Yeah, sure.
0777700995. 0555-995-995 are the numbers. We're talking about the Liberia Standard Authority. Some of these institutions of government, very important, but sometimes we don't know about them. We don't know the work they do. More awareness need to, be created. Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning. My name is Manama.
Yeah, let's hear you.
Okay, so I want to say thanks to the folks in the studio first. The issue about that entity issue have come to light long ago, but they did not have the political will, because everybody was like, no, somebody going to start my eating, somebody going to start my chopping, most especially with these agencies and ministries, because we think now they have the political will so that they can implement the rest of their activity. Because the issue of you asked a question about the check and balance aspect. For example, Nicholas was talking about the issue of skills and other things. So coming down to the common man level, for example, you go and purchase a meat, or Clarence. You go and purchase a meat. Do you know that these guys can tie the skill of the meat, so you don't get a value for your money, right? Now you also have some data about food and the food authority, because in the food law, the Food Act, that for Food Authority, they should have they should contact our 17025 satisfied laboratory, which the standard authority is in line with now. And so it's a check and balance. So before you import a goods, the goods is tested at the national level, international level, and let's discuss the national business level first. Before the goods come into our country, the sample are sent and they are tested. All right? Then they issue certificates based from the regulated authority, now, for example, the food authority. After the assessment, coming to the mining sector, coming to the medical sector, and the rest of that. But like I said, the institution have not been having political will. And so we had this issue of the market being flooded with substandard goods and services.
Okay, thank you. Let's go back. Let's hear you. Hello?
Morning.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm Pastor Keita calling from New Georgia. Yeah. My concern to your guests this morning is that I hope, and let me congratulate first in the first place for how the level of what they are doing. But also, I want to know if whether they are also considering the value for money, because during those, let's say during the past, like for me, I'm a construction man. So during the past, like steel rod, we used to get it for like $5, $6. And then the value of steel rod at that time, as compared to what they are producing in Liberia is quite different. So I don't rather, know what the extra or what the benefit of the citizen for the factory that we get in Liberia, which is the Seti Brother factory. Because the steel rod they're producing there, when you put it under the ring for only for like 1 or 2 days, local is so wrong. And then the cost of it is too high for the Liberian people. Yeah, that's my concern this morning. Thank you.
Okay, let me take a call this side. Hello?
Yeah, Clarence.
Good morning.
Yeah, Clarence.
Let's hear you.
Okay, Clarence, this is Charlie Toyer, and I'm calling from Monrovia, Clarence.
Yeah.
And Clarence, to be honest, this is a very important topic that you are discussing right now, because there are two things we should take into consideration, and these are things we need to put focus on or emphasis on for the general welfare of the country. Because one, you are talking about the welfare of the citizens, Now, are you there, Clarence?
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Okay, that's one. Because, for example, right, if we allow sustainable products, medicine, and the rest of it to enter into our commerce without proper scrutiny or proper observation, you're going to realize that the general welfare of the citizens are going to be affected. So most of the time, countries place emphasis on the external authority to allow people to bring in anything. Should not be allowed in Liberia anymore. And the next thing that we have to take into serious consideration, Clarence, is the issue of the anti-competitive behavior from companies, because they want to maximize more profit and don't care about the general welfare of the citizen. They go and bring in substandard products or material into the commerce. So I don't know whether the standard authority and the anti-competitive authority are working together, because there's a thin line between the two institutions. Okay. If not, I think government needs to play premium on these authority, like the standard authority and the anti-competitive authority, to making sure that we be on the path of international best practice. Because if not, companies are just going to come and do anything, sell anything, import anything, and at the end result, our citizens will be affected by their anti-competitive action.
Thank you, Toya. Thank you. Hello, final call.
Good morning, Piso Johnson, and good morning to the beloved citizens of the Republic of Liberia. My name is Matthew, man. I'm calling for tomorrow. Piso, thank you, and we tell God thank you for the long weekend, and we hear your voice on the radio tomorrow. We're very few happy when we don't hear your voice. And I want to tell God thank you again, my daughter Greta, on Saturday. So the issue, Piso, we take our own iron, we pick the iron, we packing it, and we put it in shop, we pay the conversation. We bring it to second brother. We buy a small money. But then they sell the steel rod to us again, we hire money. They're not exporting the steel rod to bring it to the spend more money. We pay our conversation with the back. We carry that they buy it, they want to buy it. We get refuse it. We are able to tell you anywhere, when they want to buy it, any price they give, buy it, we all.
Okay. I said finally, but let me take this other call. Then we just go to them. I'll give them the rest of the 4-5 minutes. Hello?
Good morning, Clarence. My name is Ishmael. I join you from SD Cooper Road.
Yeah, Ishmael, let's hear you.
Yes, thank you for your guest in studio. I just have observation as somebody who has experienced the work of the standards firsthand. 4 years ago, I used to operate a small water factory. The only requirement was that we had to submit quarterly water quality results showing that the water was free from certain bacteria and all of that. But what I realized was that there were multiple labs in the country. One of them at Public Works, another one at Enfield, I think. So these labs,
the one at Public Works is the one we're talking about. They are here.
So is that the one at Commerce you're talking about there? There's another one at Commerce also.
Yeah, I think they used to be at Commerce, but they are at Public Works now.
Yeah. So I mean, you can stay in a water factory that is polluted with roads and rats, and you take a water in the back of water and go to energy labs, and it will still confirm that the water is good for the market. And that was surprising. We have our friends whose water factory we thought were going to be shut down. When you look at the factory, the water from the factory side, you go there, the distance from toilets to the water production side, you see that clearly there will be pollution. And these standard labs will still go ahead and give them clearance. So I don't know what are the minimum standards that that water has to meet.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's go back to you. We'll start with you, Williams, and then your boss will just respond later, and then he will just conclude everything. Yeah.
Yes. Before we go to the questions that were raised by the callers, I just want to make something clear. The Liberia Standards Authority have launched the legal metrology exercise, and that exercise will entails the verification and certification of measuring instruments that are used for trade purpose. That is, if you have a weighing instrument and it's being used for trade, if you have a fuel dispenser or a gas station pump that is commercialized for trade, if you have a weigh bridge that is being used for trade purpose, all these equipments are going to be subjected to legal metrology control. That is, the Liberia Standards Authority will be testing them and ensuring that they meet the accuracy required for trade purpose. And if they don't meet the accuracy, they will be shut down. Those that pass the accuracy test will be certificated, and they will be stamped with a sticker of the Liberia Standards Authority to ensure to the public that this particular equipment or instrument has been tested and approved for use. So I just want the public to know that the Liberia Standards Authority will be engaging the business community in a short as possible time to ensure that these equipments used in trade are accurate. So to the questions that were raised, I think the first question was from Mr. Keita that has to do with the steel rod, the quality of the steel rod and the cost. Like my DG just said, there's a scheme that has been put in place to ensure that the Liberia Standards Authority can curtail the issues of substandard products coming to our country or being sold on our market, especially the products relating to building materials. So once the scheme kicks in, we're going to have these products tested regularly at a specific intervals that will ensure that we can have the relevant data to show that these equipments meet the requirements of the standards. So, Mr. Mamu, you want to speak to other questions?
Yeah, thank you very much, Carlos, for your questions and also your comment. I do agree with some of the callers' concern, especially those ones that had to do with value for money, and then the concern about building materials. And someone also said that there should be a collaboration between the Liberia Standards Authority to that of the comparison competitiveness agency. We do agree that both agencies actually work like the two sides of the coin, but we specifically are responsible to ensure that the quality and the services of goods and product, they actually conform to Liberian standards. So obviously we are going to work with, if not all the government agencies, to ensure that. For the steel rod, Mr. Wilmby, I've already said so, but I just want to emphasize that is a priority that we have currently to make sure that we can have standards for all building materials, and then we have a scheme. So in the next 3 months, you will find out that we will be able to verify most of the building materials. And then, Clarence, what we are going to do is that on our website, those products that are being tested and passed, we are going to create a database. So, for example, you go to buy a product, and you want to know whether that product.
Log in the mark so people can
yeah. So if you want to know whether that product has been tested and satisfied, just go on our website and you will be able to know. So even vendors, we are going to register vendors to make sure that their products are traceable and every other thing. I just want to come to substandard goods again.
Yeah, we got like 1 minute.
I'm coming. Currently, the ministry and the Liberia Standards Authority Commerce, we are working on what we call the verification of conformity in order to control quality from out. So if you go to the port now, you do your product, you only have what we call designated inspection. But there should be another component of that destination inspection, which has to do to make sure that the quality of product entering this country meets standards. So the minister is working along with us to ensure that the VOC also come on par to ensure the safety and the quality of product. Lastly, Clarence, we want to say thank you, and we are calling out to government agencies and that of the private sector. At the end of this month, we're supposed to have a private sector engagement where we are going to build collaborations, and we are going to explain more about the role and responsibilities. And just for example, this afternoon by 3, the Liberia Standards Authority, that of NAFA, will be signing a technical MOU. And through NAFA, we will be building a standard fishery laboratory that will ensure that fish from here have access to the European market and every other thing. These are the collaborations that we are currently working on to ensure that our services are actually conspicuous when it comes to the national
Mr.
scene.
Mahmoud,
Yeah.
thank you so much. We hope we can get you back here and team. Thanks to the both of you. Mr. Stephen Mahmoud is the head of the National Standard Authority. We need to learn more. Maybe I need to visit their office, take some time, so we help them provide public education. Okay. Coming up shortly, Senator Darius DeLong will be here as our guest. We'll talk about a lot of things. By the time the senator coming, we'll start the discussion. Our colleagues from different online platforms are here. Okay, by the time the senator signals he's ready, we'll start. Okay, we gotta go. We gotta start. Bring down the freedom fighter's song that never gets old. It suits everybody. When they were coming, they used to say they're freedom fighters. The moment they gain the ground, their minds are changed. Well, Senator Darius DeLong is the senator of Montserrado County, one of two senators of Montserrado County. Is our guest this morning. We will talk about a lot of issues. A long time. I don't know since when I hosted Senator DeLong, but he's been here on Julius's show. Good enough. And Chokon's show too, Chokon's presentation. Senator DeLong, good morning. It's always good to have you. How are you?
Good morning, Clarence, and thank you for the invite. God is good. A brand new week. We give God the glory. And I'm here. Good morning to listeners on OKFM across the country and all of our social media followers. I'd like to give recognition to Radio Bushwood 98.1 that is also carrying this interview or interaction live. Okay. Thank you, Clarence, for the invitation. And the last time I saw you, I think we were in Washington, New York.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, at the permanent mission.
Yeah, for the Security Council.
When you were dancing like that.
Yeah, I had to dance.
I know where that dance came from, but it was strange.
Did you see
that other dance was strange? You and Louis Brown dance was strange.
Did you see the people of Sierra Leone, the president, his wife, and the people of Sierra Leone, including the army and the citizens, celebrating the election of Marubio as
the chair of the head of state,
head of state of ECOWAS? Yeah, the same way we were dancing and cheering for Liberia when Liberia won the election as a member of the UN Security Council. So it's always a patriotic thing to do, to dance and commend your country's
That's good.
success.
That's good. Now, maybe we need to start from there.
Yeah.
You chair the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs. You were there with Nenke Gay and others. Were you always relaxed? Did you know this thing was like bread and butter? Did you have some skepticism? What did you think Liberia did well? What are some of the things? Because we needed like 125 because of the number of people that voted, but we got 181. What did you do? What did we do?
A lot of work, and we want to pay special recognition, appreciation to the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the entire team at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to the legislature for the support, two committees, the Committee on Foreign Affairs and the committee from the House and the Committee on Foreign Affairs from the Senate, which I humbly chair. The President of Liberia gave a clear mandate in keeping with our foreign policy goal, and the support of Liberians home and abroad. We did a lot. Normally people have considered that nobody is contesting against Liberia, so why all this hype, like white ballot? We consider those as either deliberate misinformation or political sentiment, because the rule is, first, the background is that Liberia has never been in effect elected on the Security Council before, even though we occupy that seat for 1 year. In 1961, Liberia needed 91 votes by the threshold at that time to be elected on the Security Council. And after 13 different votes, Liberia could not reach 91 votes. So, out of consensus, they gave us 1 year to sit there, in effect. So this is the first time we have actually been elected on the Security Council. And by the threshold, we needed 125 votes. Even if all of the countries around the world committed, like you campaigning and people pledging support to you, endorsing you, you still have to go get the number of votes that in keeping with the threshold. Liberia needed 125 votes, and if we did not get 125 votes by the individual countries voting that day, right on the floor, another country can be nominated.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not a...
And that one, it sounded tricky to me.
Yeah. So a country can pledge to vote for you, but at the same time, they can be lobbying on our hand as the alternative. We're supporting Liberia, but just in case Liberia...
To make sure you don't have the vote.
Right. We're supporting Liberia publicly. But then countries could be on our hand lobbying that just in case Liberia does not get the vote, I'm here, I'm prepared. Then another country can be nominated right on the floor. Out of almost 200 United Nations countries, you need the minimum of 125 to be on the Security Council. And Liberia go, and on the voting day, the more countries in the hall to vote, it's better for you. That day there were 187 United Nations countries in the hall, and we got 181 votes out of 187 countries that were present. One country abstained, and 6 other countries voted against. So Liberia got 181 votes. That is an overwhelming endorsement of the countries around the world for Liberia to sit on the Security Council seat as a non-permanent member. Non-permanent member does not mean you are unimportant or not important. The Security Council has 15 members, 5 permanent members, and 10 non-permanent members. Non-permanent members only because every 2 years that seat is up for, the 10 seats are up for election. And the way the Security Council is structured, that we are elected now and will take office in January next year. After our term, we cannot immediately vie for that seat again. Another country, another United Nations country will have to occupy that seat. And after that time, we can vie again. So it's not something that is consecutive, consecutive. Yeah, it's not in succession. But on the Security Council, in order for any resolution to pass on the Security Council to affect peace and justice around the world, 9 countries of the 10 must vote yes. So even if the 5 permanent countries vote yes, you still need votes, 4 votes at least of the non-permanent, to make it 9 or more. So that should tell you that even with the non-permanent status, every country on the Security Council is very important, except that the 5 countries permanent can veto.
Exclusive veto rights.
Right.
That was good.
Right.
Okay, now, so we got it and we are back home. Congratulations to all of us. Let's go Capitol Hill. Let's go to the Senate. Senator, and I'll leave this one open. I'll ask some particular questions.
Right.
But generally, what do you want us to know? What is the Senate doing at the moment? What's important for us?
The Senate is gearing up for these ratifications of concessions. The Senate is investigating and to put into proper perspective with the executive on the issue of METEC and CTN. The Senate is, we are engaged with concluding on the issue of the work permit with the Labor Ministry, which will be part of our discussions. Last week we had NASCOP and the Labor Minister. We were talking about possible amendment to the Decent Work Act, specifically when it comes to the issue of compensation for retired employees. And I am again, while we're pushing for the work permit issue for jobs for Liberians, we are engaging with the Senate so that we can talk about the minimum wage. While we're looking at this Decent Work Act, it's time to review the minimum wage so that we can act in keeping with current reality.
We were just talking about that this morning.
Yeah, the minimum wage. It was part of the public hearing on Thursday last week in the Senate. Public hearing meaning the door is open and the media is there. People don't follow some of these things that we do at the Senate, so that they are not informed. But everything we do at the Senate, it is open. We are doing everything to reform and modernize the Liberian Senate, and hopefully it can also transform to the House of Representatives.
That's good.
Yeah.
Let me be particular now. Recently, I think the president signed into law, or it is before the president, the National Food Assistance Program. And I'm hearing from the angle of the Senate, either you co-sponsor or you sponsor that bill. If you co-sponsor or you sponsor, give us a picture of what our National Food Assistance, program or institution is going to be. What does it seek to do? How is it really important?
In 2020, July thereabout, I drafted and sponsored the bill, the National Food Assistance Authority.
Okay, authority.
Yeah. I drafted that bill. Normally I don't like so my office we did that. And sponsored it on the floor of the Senate. And after several months of debate, public hearing, including bringing in the Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Finance, and other public entities connected thereto, the bill was passed and then engrossed to the House. When one house initiates a bill or a bill comes from one house to the other, it is known as engrossed bill. When the other house concurs, then we enroll the bill to the motion for approval. So the bill was passed and engrossed to the House for concurrence. And I don't want to sound political with this, but Bova Chambers, as Speaker of the House, insisted that that bill won't go on the floor for concurrence, even though it is something that we need as a country. because at that time to do it will improve or increase Darius Dillon's political scorecard. So it is always a pleasant thing when the lawmaker can say, put this bill on the floor and it passed into law, and because of this dividend it will bring to the country. For the politics of it at the time, that bill didn't surface until a few months ago. Under our rescue government, we brought about the bill, and thanks to the folks there at the National Food, it's actually the National Food Assistance Agency, there to push the House, and we liaised with the House to see the need, and the House concurred with the bill, and the President has signed it into law. So what was the wisdom behind the...
What does it seek to do? That's what I want to know.
So the National Food Assistance Agency has been existing from time to time, and then it goes into dormancy from time to time, and it was first brought to birth by the Tauber administration under an executive order, which had a lifespan of 1 year, and with the possibility of renewing it from time to time. That institution is the government institution that is supposed to run school feeding program, all national donations from government. If government receive foreign donations from foreign countries, from foreign institutions, say for instance the Saudi rice that is in question in a few days, and if government wanted to donate to vulnerable homes, to orphanages, to elderly places, to people with disability and those such homes, and school feeding, you needed a standing government institution with the technical know-how and the logistical support ready at any time. And you can't have that kind of institution standing if it is not existing by law, because every time it's renewed for a particular purpose, after that event, it goes into dormancy. So President Tauber had a vision. It was on the National Food Feeding Program that the institution, government used to feed public schools. Then I remember President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf activated that institution by another executive order during the Ebola. Then President Weah also activated the executive order to cater to COVID-19. Now, then I said, if we activate this institution, then this institution must be the institution of government to manage the COVID-19 stimulus package with the distribution. Then the argument was, this institution does not have logistics, trucks, and all of these things. The manpower to do nationwide distribution for accountability, this institution lacks it. So because of this emergency, we will allow World Food Program to do the distribution, the purchase and the distribution, because they already have the logistics and the technical know-how. And that is how we thought that this institution should have perpetual legal existence.
And are we not duplicating the function of the National Disaster Management Agency? Because in terms of disaster, agency will respond to relief items such as rice, the zinc, the that. And in the context of school feeding, are we not taking something away from the Ministry of Education? Just the morning we're talking about school feeding program that the Ministry of Education and Agriculture are supposed to jointly do. It's just a teen line.
The National Disaster Relief Management Agency is about disaster, natural disaster of whatever kind. And admitted, you don't have disasters every day, every time. But it will feeding public schools is everyday thing, weekly. To make donations, government donations to institutions, vulnerable institutions, orphanages, it does not require a disaster. So you need a standalone institution to do that. And it also fits in with the government's vision for agriculture. Because if this national entity is empowered sufficiently, it can also go and buy the produce from cassava planting area because you want it can also help to change your diet. If we have an institution like this that can go and purchase the planting cassava, banana for the purpose of feeding not just public schools but donating to vulnerable homes, orphanages, the farmer there will also grow more. And so it also helps the agricultural sector. So that is why it is also attached to the it was also attached under the Ministry of Agriculture, and we decided that we will make it.
It's going to be headed by a Director General?
It's going to be headed by a Director General and 3 deputies.
3 deputies.
And they will be nominated by the President and confirmed by the Senate and what have you.
Okay. Still at the Liberian Senate,
so we take humble pride in the fact that that bill has passed into law.
Yeah, except that when you say Buffer Chimo didn't want it, I thought he had his own perspectives. Probably the way you were seeing it, he didn't see it that way. So it was not because of DeLong.
Chief, it was political.
You think so?
Yeah, it was political. CDC government did not want anything that appears to be a quote-unquote DeLong political.
Okay. Still at the Liberian Senate, you chair the Committee on Information, am I correct?
Correct.
Now, your colleague, bombing Senator Aaron Snow, reported to plenary about an issue he had with the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism.
Right.
He didn't feel good about some certain things.
Right.
How is it now?
So that the communication of Senator Snow, our colleague, is before the joint committees on defense, security, because he talked about threats, and the government through the Ministry of Information accused our colleague of wanting to destabilize the government. It's a security issue. And since the allegations were made by the Minister of Education, so the committee...
You mean the Minister of
Information. So the Committee on Information that are also chaired by the consent of my colleagues, because one senator cannot chair 2 committees, but my colleagues, even though I chair the 3rd Leadership Committee on Foreign Affairs, my colleagues generally thought that I should also chair that committee. So it's before the joint committee. The lead committee on this investigation is the Defense Security Intelligence Committee. A communication officially citing the Minister of Information was sent, citing the Minister of Information. The ministry, through its acting, communicated officially to the effect that the minister was out of the country. I think he was in China by then, and so they asked us to hold on until he returned. Now that the minister has returned, I'm going to follow up with my colleague, Senator Momo Cyrus, who chairs the Defense and Intelligence Committee, so that we can pursue this matter and bring it to a logical conclusion. Because if a colleague is accused of acting to destabilize the government, it is not an allegation that we must take lightly.
Now, do you have to cite the ministry and or the Minister of Information to hear from him? I mean, somebody would say, why don't you just listen to the audio, to the statement he made? What else do you want to hear from him?
Due process. Okay. Even if you saw somebody killing, due process. And then after our investigation, and then the findings from that investigation will determine the recommendation for action and what kind of action.
Okay.
Right.
Let's move on to work permit. It's taking center stage in the country for some time now. At one point, the MDR Youth Wing will call a press conference in defense of Minister Kopo Kura. Few hours later, the Liberty Party Youth Wing will now call a press conference in defense of Senator DeLong, and it was getting political. What is the status of this whole work permit? Senator DeLong, what's your idea about it? What do you want?
All I want is for us to follow the law and give Liberians the opportunity to work. Because that's what we are elected for. Create the environment for people to work. And when we create the environment, and as a government find the means for our people to get jobs, we as the government should not just give the job up to non-Liberians. And this fight is not a xenophobic fight. I stand bold and courageous.
Is it a fight?
Yes, it is a fight for a good cause. The Decent Work Act, most time our people say the lawmakers are not doing anything for us, or the government is not doing anything for us because they are not working. They can't find jobs. We create the environment for the jobs to be available. The opportunity is there. Then we, the very government, or any branch thereof, we can sit and allow a branch of government or an entity of government to give the very job of, and then it appears to our people that we are not creating jobs. So the Decent Work Act, section 45, chapter 45, is very clear. There is no portion of the law that restricts a particular job set aside for Liberians. It's not listed in the law. But what the law does, it provides the first right opportunity for Liberians to get a job. So the law says, don't give any work permit for a job unless the person or institution requesting that work permit for a non-Liberian to get a job can demonstrate proof that they did advertisement, they advertised the vacancy for the job, and no Liberian either applied or no Liberian were found qualified. On that basis, then you get a work permit. And we were very clear. Advertise the job vacancy in at least 2 newspapers for 30 days. Advertise the job vacancy on 2 Liberian websites for 30 days. Because if you're looking for a lab technician, for instance, and you put it in the local newspaper, a Liberian who lives outside Liberia may not see it. But if you put it on a Liberian website for 30 days, Liberian home and abroad can see that vacancy and likely apply. You should also put it on a radio station for 30 days. After 30 days, you attach your proof and take those proof to the Minister of Labor and say, I want a lab technician. I advertise this job for 30 days. Here's the proof. No Liberian either applied or we didn't find any Liberian qualified. And so we bring in one non-Liberian to do this job for 1 year because the work permit is renewable or expires every year, 1 year, not beyond. And so you can have a lab technician, for instance, for 10 years in one job. When a lab technician comes, that company must endeavor to train a Liberian who will take over after a certain number of years.
Now, you as a Senate, have invited the Minister of Labor on several occasions. In all of the interactions with the minister, did you discover as an institution, as a body, that there are jobs non-Liberians are doing that Liberians can do, and that some of the companies did not provide sufficient proof to justify employment of non-Liberians? And did you care to know from the ministry why they gave approval for those kinds of employment?
The minister did not appear to be honestly cooperative. And that was very vexing. The minister will not tell us the category of jobs that non-Liberians apply for which permits were given for them to work. And the only way you will know that no Liberian on earth is qualified to do a plumbing job unless it is advertised. You don't know vacancy in any company unless it is advertised. That is why the law requires that proof must be shown that the vacancy was advertised. Okay? The minister issued work permit to more than 10,000 non-Liberians. And when we asked him what kind of job these people apply for, it took him more than 5 months to tell us. That said a lot. That was very telling, that he was hiding something. Thankfully, the Senate insisted, and he submitted that. And he submitted that. And when you see...
What did you find out?
We found out that the minister just gave work permit without doing due diligence, without questioning, without asking questions. You gave driving job up, you gave a flag waiver job up, you gave technician job up, you gave a cook job up, you gave a manager job up, you gave accountant job up. Liberians are qualified. You only find those Liberians. You will know that Liberians are available unless you advertise the job vacancy. If you don't advertise the job vacancy, no Liberian will know that there's a vacancy at that place, and as a result, no Liberian may or will apply there.
What is the Senate going to do now?
The Senate going to insist that no work permit, active work permit, will be renewed. The current active work permit cannot be revoked because it is a contract already. Once we received as a government the work permit fee and issue flag receipt and issue the work permit, in effect, it is a contract the Liberian government has entered into with that person or that company to get this person. The only way the work permit can be revoked or cancelled before it expires, unless you apply to be a plumber and you're doing manager job. That's deception.
Of the over, maybe, or a little over, or almost 10,000 work permits they gave out, what did the Senate discuss? How many of these permits are people doing jobs that Liberian could do? More than what?
Almost all.
Almost all.
Driving job, Liberians can drive. Well, so if you say, okay, to operate a technical heavy duty equipment, like in some of these companies, it will appear that Liberians ain't know it. But you will not know that Liberians ain't able unless you advertise the vacancy.
There's another argument. For example, Senator Dillon, look, what do you expect the Ministry of Labor to do when it is supposed to meet an obligation in the national budget? It needs to raise money. So the ministry needs to give out as many permits as possible to be able to meet up with what it says it will do.
So which budget item, budget line say go raise $10 million from work permit?
How do they get the money?
Exactly, there are other avenues. The Minister of Labor and all of us must not look for $1,000 for work permit and deprive Liberians from the job. It will lose the revenue portion from the Labor Ministry on work permit. We will get it double fold when we give our people jobs. And not only giving them job, but equal pay for equal work. At Western Cluster, B Mountain, the Minister of Labor 5 months ago told the Senate at a public hearing that at Western Cluster they have 100 drivers operating those heavy duty equipment, and 55 of those operators are non-Liberians. 45 are Liberians. I asked the minister why. He said because the company could not find the 55 Liberians to operate the equipment, the machine. Okay, why that could make sense, but the minister did not, the company did not advertise the job vacancy. There is no proof that they advertised. Notwithstanding, the minister gave the work permit. But what is more telling, and I cannot accept, and none of us should ever accept, is that if you found 45 Liberians qualified to operate the technical heavy duty equipment at that company, and you have 55 non-Liberians with the same skill operating the same machine, why are you paying the non-Liberian $3,000 every month, and you paying the Liberian 600? I asked the minister.
Is that the case?
That is the case, and the minister said he was going to investigate and get back to us.
The non-Liberians are making $3,000.
The non-Liberians
driving the same equipment.
The same equipment, they working the same work time.
And the Liberian made what, 600?
The Liberian made 600.
$2,400 difference.
2004, and the non-Liberians get some other benefits. The Liberians don't get the. So, if the
because these people are like expert.
If the skill set that was required to operate that machine, you found it in a Liberian, and you found that same skill set in a non-Liberian, why they pay this parity? And I'm sure the Liberians don't have.
Did the minister admit that?
Yes, he did on record at the public hearing, and he said he was going to seek. And in fact, I insisted in the hearing that was injustice. It was against equal work for equal pay, as enshrined in the Constitution, and he being a lawyer and a minister of labor should seek to correct that. In my view, that's bad labor practice. It's unfair to our people. We should never ever sit and allow it. And the minister said they were going to take action to correct it. 6 months after, asked the minister how much a Liberian driver at Western Cluster operating that heavy duty machine is making versus what a non-Liberian is making.
Senator Darius Dillon of Montserrado County is our guest from the labor issue. Senator Dillon. Let's move on
before we conclude on that. 10,000 work permit in the labor market is not small thing.
In what context?
When the argument the minister and some people try to make was that, what is 10,000 jobs over a population of 5.2 million people? 10,000 comes across as very insignificant and inconsequential to the ordinary mind. That argument is thin, is weak, is lazy. Because our population is said to be 5.2 million people, does that mean that 5.2 million people are qualified or employable, qualified to work? Take out the under 18 population. Then even the population that is beyond 18 years, go in there and take out the employable population. Some people are unemployed not because no job, but because they got no skill to work. So you are not unemployed. You are unemployed when you have the skills, you have the education, you have the competence, but you can't find a job to do. You are unemployed. If you look in our population and give them 10,000 jobs in the private sector in the labor market, some of those jobs are paying 300 per month, 500, 2,000, 4,000. Give the job to Liberians in the labor market in the private sector, and take your microphone 2 months after in the market and ask the old man how the market doing. The story will change.
Okay, the story will change. Let's move on to, maybe that's where we'll conclude. ArcelorMittal. It's being debated all over. The last time I checked at the lower hall, they say ArcelorMittal is supposed to appear. They say the committee chair on mining and construction and what have you, follow family. This, but they say ArcelorMittal people when they get document later on we didn't hear anything. But the spokesperson said no, they didn't come. They only brought the document. It's okay. We'll follow up. But what is your side of this ArcelorMittal renewal of its agreement debate? 5 years, yeah, they still got to operate, but the discussion is all over the place now. Dylan, where are you? What side are you?
ArcelorMittal deal term extension will come before the legislature for consideration, ratification consideration. In 2022, then President George Weah submitted ArcelorMittal for the third extension. And thankfully we were in the Senate at the time. they both houses, and this is not a personal credit, they both houses took action to send it back to the executive. When it is an agreement or contract for ratification, the legislature can concur with a yes vote or reject it with a no vote majority concurrence. The legislature cannot on its own change any letter or word in a contract for ratification or any instrument for ratification. If the legislature agrees with everything in the contract as contained in the contract document, the legislature votes yes and send it back to the executive. If the legislature finds some things that are telling and concerning, the legislature votes no with its recommendation as to why it voted no and attach it to the executive to go renegotiate. But on our own, we cannot change anything in a contract for ratification. So in 2022, we saw a lot of things that compliance and lacking compliance. ArcelorMittal will have to answer to some of us when that document arrives before the legislature. Housing, what have you done about housing? What have you done about health for your employees and the communities in which you operate? What have you done for education for your employees and their children and the community in which you operate? If they did not do those things in 2022, for which we rejected, and they're coming back on the same thing today, I'm going to vote no.
Do you have to wait until that kind of time comes? Could you not use your oversight to sack the company before you to answer to some of these concerns?
So most times we got to be careful so that we have the authority to cite some of these companies or any company. But it's good to deal with the sector, the government sector institution. You know, we have a government sector institution that we enacted in the law for that purpose. Everything they say what the lawmakers doing. Our business is to make law, and then our oversight function to ensure the law we enacted and establish institutions, those institutions will perform. In order to know whether these concession agreements are performing, the legislature in its wisdom enacted the institution they call the National Bureau of Concession. That institution is the institution of government that is supposed to do quarterly report and give us an understanding on performance, the contract performance, and what the company or the investor is falling back on the terms and agreement of the contract. But you know, sometimes you sound like you want you Mr. Something. The majority we can always have to pass law. It will have that same majority standing all the time for oversight. Plenty of things.
It seems you're weak in your oversight.
The oversight,
because
we're trying
even
to improve on
if
it.
the NBC is not doing what it's supposed to do, your oversight covers it.
Exactly. And that is why this 55th legislature, and with particular reference to the Senate, I give some credit to the House, but I'm a senator. Our oversight on the 55th, on this new Senate, we are not taking it lightly. That's why you see, for instance, the Minister of Labor is in the field telling a non-white Liberian to stop waving flag, traffic flag, because that's not his job. Before, oversight was not effective as strong. The minister used to pass and see that same person standing there waving a flag and he passed. Now oversight is becoming effective.
That's what collaboration can do. Okay, Senator Darius DeLong is here. Monserrato Senator, it's good now that we go to the telephone lines and take some calls right here. Radio Bushro is relaying this edition of the show thanks to our colleagues there. 0777700995 555-995-995 are the numbers. Let's hear this caller right here on this other line. Hello. Good morning.
Yeah, everybody here.
Aaron, let's hear you.
I want to say good morning to our senator and thank you for the job you continue to do. They say when you don't put fire sometimes the turtle's back, it doesn't move. And that's what the Senate is doing. The oversight responsibility is getting momentum. And we want them to do more. Clara, I just want you to I did a few analysis I think I share with the senator, or maybe he has not received it. Take for example, there are too many jobs that our people can do. The jobs are out there. Take for example, AFCON. AFCON has 935 expatriates and 846 local workers. How is that possible that expatriates will be more than local workers in our own country? Then you have heavy duty operators, 84 of them constituting 85.7. Why you have only 14 of our people? You mean the whole country wanted we don't have heavy duty operators? Then you got another group of people called riggers. They are 301. 99.3%. You only have 2 riggers. The point the senator made, I try to buttress is that Clarence, anywhere you find one Liberian doing a particular job, another Liberian can do same.
Okay, Aaron.
And this has to stop. We have to put this nation first. That's why this is above political line. I'm standing with the senator. We're giving Liberian job back to Liberians. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello. Are you there? Do we have you? We're done. So we go right here. Yeah. Kole, let's hear you from Puebla.
Yeah. First of all, let me appreciate the senator for his efforts. I think this is that we need to discuss for the farmer of our country. Yeah, but my take on this thing, according to him, it's the property place or the National Food Authority. Why they don't want to give the agriculture ministry the authority to produce food in this country? Except they gave them power to watch the other people to produce food. If they want for food together in the country, they should give the agriculture ministry authority to produce food in the country, and they should support the agriculture ministry fully.
Okay. Hello.
Clarence, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning to everyone.
Yeah.
I'm in Monrovia. My name is Theophilus Tito the second.
Theophilus, let's hear you. Talk like you want to talk, man, Chief.
Yeah, Clarence. So, let me commend the senator this morning for the conversation. Look, the senator is not secret. The senator was the chairperson and for the campaign team in Montserrat. And so that today we are successful. The senator is under obligation to make sure a Liberians get jobs. And so if the institution that is responsible to make sure that people are empowered, which is the Ministry of Labor, if they are not doing the work that they are supposed to do, the senator cannot keep quiet. And that's what I love. And he's standing up for the people. And so we must support him so that we make sure that the Ministry of Labor do the right thing.
Okay. So the ministry does it right. Hello.
Good morning, Piso.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you, my dear brother, for this great opportunity. Yeah, sorry for my voice. This is BG Pleniswa. Let me say good morning to Senator Dillon.
Yep.
Chairman of Foreign Affairs, thank you so much. And I've been following you, even the past regime that has to do with a labor issue. You've been raising the issue, but there was no answer. Today, now, you are fully in charge. So, for most especially the issue you raised that has to do with Malaysians or somebody from Beer Mountain area riding the same truck, making $1,000+ US, Liberia making 300, 200. It's very disgraceful in our country.
No, he said Liberia making 600.
Yes, that's the fact about it. He's saying the fact, that's the truth. Even go to GVL, you find the same thing with GVL. You find the same thing with the company in Maryland, on the plantation in Kabbalah. These are serious situations. So you need us to, and the other senators need to join the law. They don't need to put politics in the issue. This is not political issue. We're in the context of politics. Clarence, when people say this is political, I laugh because politics is about the majority. It's not about individual, but in the context of Liberia, when they say politics, I say okay, because in the context of Liberia, it's about my interest. I, me, myself.
But we need to graduate from the kind of, extend, discussion. So senators need to join. Now even the entire senator, the entire legislature, they need to put their feet down to plan their oversight.
Thank you, Chipley. Thank you. Let's hear you here. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah?
Yes, I'm Wilson Johnson phoning from the Queer Street Intellectual Center this month.
Yeah?
Let me appreciate the senator for this morning. Let me say this. I think I listened to the senator when he said when legislation that was brought forth him to President William, it could not pass because of the need alone. And let me respectfully disagree with the exception. I think it was him who was very much faithful when it comes to church administration, because those things the executive sent back then, like the dual citizen, like the change of the reduction of the presidency, he was against all. And later while all he disagreed with doing President Wiata dual citizen bill, he later tried to push that and didn't got thing because at that time President Wiata was not in power. So it was he was against President Wiata administration. He knew what President Wiata was doing back then was good for the Liberian people, but for his because of his own selfish game at that time, he disagreed with all that President Wiata was doing.
Okay, let me take the final call right here, then we can leave the 5 minutes or 4 for Senator DeLong. Hello, sir.
Good morning, Clarence.
Good morning,
and
sir.
good morning to the peace-loving people of Liberia. This is J. Jefferson Chessy.
Former Minister
And good
Chessy,
morning
let's
to
hear you.
Honorable DeLong. DeLong, I just want to say thanks for pushing the case for Liberian workers. Nevertheless, I just want to point out your strange and extreme hypocrisy in the process. You sat down there under your watch as a senator of Montserrat and watched thousands of Liberians removed from their jobs, and you watched this Unity Party government purging the government of workers that were not in support of the Unity Party. Why didn't you say anything about this? You see, at times, you need to just shut up with your lack of hypocrisy and look beyond yourself and personal interest.
Okay,
you need to seek the entire interest of the people, not something that you can ride on to seek political dividends.
Thank you, sir. So we're not taking any more calls. We'll give the rest of the time 4 minutes plus, at least, to Senator DeLong to respond to some of the concerns. Senator?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the callers. I can understand. When CDC dumped all these people on the payroll and we want to clean up the civil service payroll and we want to clean it up, and then you will hear Jefferson Chessy, who was assistant minister at the Ministry of Public Works, sounding like he's in favor of the bad governance that the left that we're trying to clean up. We will continue to push this. Jobs in the private sector that Liberians are qualified for, notwithstanding your political alignment, we will push for it. The issue about the NAFA, the Food Assistance Authority Agency, we will support that institution so that it can reach its full potential and so that we can feed our schools, help our agricultural sector, and what have you. In closing on the labor issue, since I have time, the minister gives an appearance that Senator DeLong is personally attacking him because he's from Nima County. I want to make this very clear here, that there is not only childish and dangerous politics that needs to stop. You know, I confirmed the Minister of Labor. In fact, I championed his confirmation. During his confirmation hearing, the video evidence on my page, I asked him about work permit, how we get jobs for Liberians. And he said, as Minister of Labor, he's going to push that to ensure that no work permit will be issued for jobs that Liberians are available and qualified for. And during that confirmation hearing, I said that after 6 to 8 months, I'm going to get the Senate to summon him so that we can know how far he gone in reforming that area. And that's just what I'm doing. I just wanted to land on this. When I confirmed Minister Cooper Crack, he was not Bazerman. When I voted on the record to confirm him to make him Minister of Labor, he was not cool. When I'm asking him how he doing a job, he can't cry that because he's from Nima County. When I confirm him, he was not Bazerman from Grand Bazaar County. He was from Nima County. But his poor performance on his job should not be used as Dillon is running after Nima people. I confirm Sekou Kroma. He's the current Minister of Postal Affairs. He's from Nima. I confirm all the people that were nominated by the president who here from Nima County. I did not vote no on any of them. I voted for all of them. But while they're in the job, whether they're from rescue mission or not, you must do the job for the Liberian people in the country. Or else, our oversight authority will catch you and deal with you and make the appropriate recommendation to the president to take the appropriate action. And if Cooper Crack will have to go, it will go deeper in the labor-related issue. Cooper Crack probably will not be minister before the close of today.
You think so?
Yes. Cooper Crack gave him work permit on waiver. That's a violation of the law.
You could be prejudicing any further investigation.
No, I'm saying, but I raised this issue more than 6 months ago. And I asked the Senate to declare vote of no confidence in the minister when the minister insisted that the 7,000 work permits were inherited.
You still stand by that?
Yes. Look, even if you inherited, work permit is renewable or should be considered every year. So you were not under obligation to extend 7,000 work permit. Your role was to scrutinize and go in keeping with the law. If the past regime just dished off work permit for revenue, we came to rescue to get jobs to our people. You cannot say that you inherited 7,000 work permit. There is no active work permit from the George Weah administration because every work permit is 1 year.
Okay, Senator Dillon, thank you so much. We got to let you go. We're here talking to Senator Darius Dillon of Monserrado County. We hope we can get him back here, man. Thanks to all of you for listening. If you call, you didn't go through, we apologize. Those of you who called, it was good for the discount. My name is Piso. Tomorrow we'll be back here, man.